Oh, is it starting?
It's face reveal. This is the intro.
Oh, no.
Face reveal. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Trash Taste Podcast. I'm your host for today, Giguk, and today joining me is my usual co-host, the boys.
Hello. We're the boys.
Hello.
Boy 1 and Boy 2, and today we have another special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
No, but hi.
We'll introduce you for you then. This is our producer, Maylene.
Yes.
You've
Yes.
probably heard her voice or seen her passing the camera a few times.
yeah.
Or
but
seen us shouting at her to
seen us shouting at her or whatever, but there you go, face reveal.
Yes.
This is what our producer looks like.
I've
Yeah.
Oh,
seen
no.
Maylene's face in my videos, right? Yeah, you were in.
Really?
Yeah, the Yowie Cafe. You were like the heavy breathing in the background. Like,
I think you've been on like all of our channels,
I
right?
think
At
so, at
one point.
Yeah.
Like the rental mom.
Yeah,
I
the
think.
rental mom one and yeah.
Yeah.
But like on Trash Taste at least is the first time, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, so do you want to explain what your job is and what you
Oh.
do and kind of
why you're on the podcast?
Why you're on the
Why on the
podcast
Okay,
today?
okay.
what's up with that? Why are you on here?
Why I'm on here?
What are you doing?
Free real estate. But anyways, yeah, I'm Maylene May. I work at Bookwalker. You've probably seen that on all of their videos. Don't
Yeah.
forget to use all their coupon codes. I don't have one, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So GeeksPlus is a company under KADOKAWA and Bookwalker, and I started that within Bookwalker last year. And yeah, now I work at
Yeah.
GeeksPlus. I don't even explain that right.
Yeah, basically
Maylene is a nervous mess.
the long,
Nervous mess.
the long and the short of it is she's the reason we're all here
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
She's the reason why this show even exists.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Is it?
And
Yeah.
the reason we invited
okay.
her today is because I thought today we could talk about some spicy industry news, guys. So yeah, so if you didn't know, this small indie anime site called KissAnime recently went out of business.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah, business.
As
And-
the time of recording this.
They
As
do
at
make
the time of
money.
recording this. And yeah, I guess we just wanted to talk about that.
Talk
So-
about piracy, because you know that always goes well on the internet.
Twitter
doesn't it?
has been
Yeah.
a mess.
Oh my god.
When is Twitter not a mess?
Yeah.
Oh god. I've seen so many garbage takes
Where do we
about
even-
it.
where do we
but
even
we even
begin
begin?
with
this?
Do we want to explain what KissAnime even is?
What a kiss, yeah.
What is KissAnime?
What is a KissAnime?
Okay, I'll explain what
Okay,
Kiss
please.
Monkey brain here to explain things for you.
Explain it like I'm 5.
KissAnime was probably the most notorious and well-known anime piracy website for streaming.
For a while.
For a while,
Not
yeah.
anymore.
Not
Like,
anymore, but I'd say at least 3 years ago, it was definitely like the site.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the top.
And then,
definitely.
you know, as somebody who at one point used it, it definitely became a thing of, oh, we're using .ru now instead of .com. Okay, that's a little confusing.
Yeah, and then suddenly you had to like dispose of a bomb or something.
Yeah, you had to like the pictures.
Yeah,
with
the caption got so fucking complicated
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I was like I didn't know how to navigate it, and then it got to a point where any way you click on the website,
Yeah.
you got an ad.
Yeah.
It was like trying
It
to
was
navigate a
bad.
minefield.
It was-
Just like where can I click
I was
without
waiting for
getting
the
an ad?
capture to turn into like Sulfur X. It's just like, it was trigonometry question.
You would ask for like cat, and blue skateboard.
Yeah. It had essentially become a second page of Google.
It was
porn
like a
website.
Turing test
Yeah.
at this point, right?
It was like a minefield. Anyway, it was definitely the most notorious, I'd say, overall website among the anime fandom, and it recently closed its doors, and people seemed very upset about that for some reason, as if there isn't like 500 other websites that immediately pop up.
One thing that really confused me is that why are people sad?
Yeah.
I guess who's still using KissAnime in 2020?
Yeah, come on,
like.
guys. I hate the fact that I just joke tweeted being like rip KissAnime, rip broke weaves, and it became my most popular tweet. And like, it's got like 90,000 likes. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I saw that.
Who is like
Yeah, it's
hashtag
his most-
can relate? It's my most popular tweet, and I hate it. I fucking hate it. But like, because yeah, I jokingly said that in the sense of like, yeah, who the fuck uses KissAnime in 2020? And so many people are like, relate, queen. I fucking relate. Yeah, rip broke
Yes,
weaves.
you
Broke
tell it.
weaves.
You tell it how it is.
Rip broke weebs.
I don't understand Twitter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's
and
horrible.
people were like, I don't know if you guys got this, but like adding me, being like, you need to discuss this. It's such big community news. And I was like, why? What do you mean? Because pirated sites get shut down all the time, and then another one pops up. Like,
Yeah.
that's the reason we had like every single country extension ever of KissAnime is because they moved to every fucking country until they only have none left. I
Yeah,
assume.
I saw like I saw KissAnime having a dot whatever in like in things that I've
Bro,
never even seen. Like I was like, "Are you?" I'm like,
That's Russia, right?
Yeah,
That's
I was like,
Russia.
bro,
You know, okay, I don't want to offend the Russian fans of Trash Taste, and we have a Russian
"Oh
dub.
yeah, we have like a giant
which
Russian
is
demographic."
great. But I'm sorry, I feel very uneasy when I see that .ru in my browser. I'm like, whoa.
You know something shady going on if it's on .ru.
Love Russia though, yeah,
They
totally.
have other things though, right? It's not only Kiss Anime. It's like Kiss Manga, Kiss,
Manga, yeah.
Movie,
Kiss Cartoon.
Kiss,
Kiss
drama.
Cartoon.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
wanna watch-
there's
if you want a
there's a
pirate
Kiss hentai
family-
as well, I think.
What?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there's actually a Kiss hentai.
You would
Not,
know. You would
yeah.
I remember somehow I got onto Kiss Cartoon and like Family Guy was like the most popular, and I just sat there for a second. I'm like, people are pirating Family Guy. Like, you know, YouTube exists. Right? Like, all the
This
episodes
shit isn't available everywhere.
Do you remember that phase where they were just like, there was this streaming phase where Family Guy episodes would just be like streamed
Yeah,
on
on
YouTube,
YouTube. Yeah.
and it would just be like 24-hour Family Guy stream, 24-hour Simpsons
always the
stream.
front page of fucking YouTube as well.
I-
the
It's
Family
not
Guy.
official, is it?
No,
No.
No,
Oh,
no,
it's not
no,
official?
no.
It's not official,
Wow.
and yet, like, every time I'd open YouTube, there'd just be like 24/7 stream of the Cleveland show. I'm like, and there was like 700,000 people watching this stream. I'm just
Yeah.
like, what? But yeah, it's the same thing that happened with like Hentai Haven, right? When Hentai Haven got shut down, people are like,
Oh, yeah,
where
people-
are we going to watch our hentai now? I'm like, I don't know. Google that shit. There's literally 700 websites for it.
I felt so out of the loop because I never used Hentai Haven, and when everyone was losing their shit, I was like, but why don't you just use like the website I'm using?
Why don't you just use every other
And everyone's
website
like,
that
links,
pops up?
Connor, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, question to you, Maylene, because you actually work in the industry. So, what is your opinion on Kiss Anime and it shutting down as a whole, from like someone on the other side of the wall?
Yeah,
I could say.
someone who like works with the copyright
I don't
holders.
really
Yeah.
work in like the anime side. I work more on like the manga,
Manga, yeah.
and occasionally like we'll do something with the anime. So I can't really speak for the anime industry.
With like most of the discussion on Twitter and like most of the discussion on our side, a lot of it is just speculation. We don't actually know
Anything
how
about the
much
industry,
piracy affects the industry. You know what I mean? I don't. I think it can be
I
argued
don't
that
think there's
no
any
one.
like concrete stats, right?
Yeah.
There isn't like
Yeah.
because I don't think any of these piracy sites are making that shit public of like how much money they're actually
because they're
making.
making a disgusting amount on all those
You
ads.
can
Yeah.
guess. You
Yeah.
can definitely guess.
I mean, at one point, Kiss Anime was like one of the top 100 visited websites on the internet,
Yeah,
which is fucking insane.
That's crazy.
Like, imagine how much money they were making just from ad revenue of being like the top.
Probably worth it to keep evading, you know, the stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I mean, they made a disgusting amount of money that they really shouldn't have been making.
Yeah, because don't a lot of because you know obviously when you watch something pirated, it's not using a standard YouTube player or like a normal. It's
Yeah.
using one of those really sketchy third-party websites that hosts like anything.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure those websites as well. A lot of the ones they were using would pay you to host files,
right,
like video files, because
Yeah.
they wanted their player to become more like universal. So a lot of these were so Kiss Anime at the time. Again, I'm not sure, but from what I understood, they were getting ad revenue, like a lot of it, I imagine, because you know you go on that website and you got like what 10 fucking ads.
hot Asian dating to the left.
No, it's
Hot
always-
singles in your
It's like
area.
always fucking Lois from Family Guy being rammed, and it's like I'm just trying to watch anime. Like, what is this?
No, and that'd be always like these shitty hentai games
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
that
So-
would be like advertised. I think one time I was watching something and just this advert for like Cunt Wars or a game called that, and I'm just like, is this for real? Is this for real right now? I think that's a real game because that
To be
just
fair,
stuck out of my mind.
To be fair, I want to play Cunt Wars just from the fucking
Yeah, man.
name of it.
I love Rent a Girl. I'm joking.
Don't you accidentally like click on those ads sometimes, and then once you click, it's like boom, 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 all these pop-up windows.
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
boom,
yeah.
boom, sex free now in your area, like that. Like but yeah. So they were getting like double dipping ad revenue. They were getting paid to host the files, and they were sorry. I leaned back. I always fucking do that.
Yeah.
Stop going. Yeah. So okay. So they were getting like double ad rev
Yeah.
basically, right? So and then you know people on Twitter, which I disagree with. I think you can. Say okay, there is a need for piracy in some extent, right? But then
Yeah.
there's people who are like boo-hoo Kiss Anime, man. It's just like they're doing the real hard work. And it's like, are you kidding me? It's probably like 4 dudes racking in millions, bro. Why are
Yeah.
you feeling
Yeah.
sorry for them? What the fuck?
So wait, so I didn't see like the full story of like how they got shut down.
I mean, I assume they just got shut down
Yeah.
by some DMCA claim.
Right. Like,
Right.
but see, because they've they've had their thing shut down several times, right?
Yeah.
Like they went from like kissanime.com to like .net to like .ru eventually, right?
Yeah.
And when that happened, there was also like not as big because I don't think there were articles about it, but people were definitely making a fuss of like, oh no, KissAnime is down, and then 2 weeks later they're back with a new URL. So that's what I just assumed when I saw that article. I was like, oh, they'll be back in like 2 weeks.
I think it's the first time they've put in like a message saying like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
thank you,
On their
we're done.
Discord, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know they had a Discord.
Who the fuck is in the KissAnime Discord?
Why would you need
Like
to
who?
go on the Discord?
Whomst. It was like, I love KissAnime so much, I'm going to join the discourse.
There's always that argument that people present where it's like, what is it? Gabe Newell said like piracy is a service problem or something.
I think it's gone way past
Yeah,
that
I think
now.
so.
Because the piracy is a service problem argument always gets brought up, and it's just like it's a different situation with the anime industry.
I think so.
feel.
Yeah, games is a really different thing. Like, have you ever tried to pirate a game? Like that shit is like annoying.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's like straight up just annoying.
Yeah.
But like one thing I find unique to anime piracy, right,
Yeah.
and even hentai to the same extent as well, is that in no other industry do I see a pirate service get like the branding power that it does in anime.
That's true.
Like you think, okay, if you want to pirate a movie or if you want to pirate a game,
Oh, you don't give a
where'd you
fuck.
go? Where'd you go for that? You probably go to Google, right? But there's no like, oh yes, there's Kiss Gaming. I go to Kiss Gaming every day. I would die for Kiss Gaming. Are you part of the Kiss Gaming
I
Discord?
downloaded Cunt Wars on Kiss Gaming.
But like you don't see that in any other industry, and it's like I don't know why it's specifically to like the anime and manga and then like hentai circles where piracy just has this branding power where people will like gather behind this service, which is just like any other pirate service. You know what I mean?
Because I remember like I think it was right before Hentai Haven got shut down as well.
Yeah.
I remember they like messaged me being like, "Hey, do you want to promote like our merch line?" And I'm like, I'm not promoting a merch line for a fucking pirating website. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's like if Pirate Bay was like, bro,
Holy shit!
we've got like these like
they actually?
yeah, they actually
No.
like I can say that because they're gone, but like yeah, they fully did that. And I remember I messaged a few people just being like, does this seem right? Like I think I'm missing something here. I don't think this is I don't think this is
No,
right.
You're not the only person, but it wasn't Hentai Haven.
Oh really?
It was KissAnime.
Really?
They messaged you?
Yeah. So KissAnime were going to open like a store. They were going to open a store, and they messaged me being like, "Hey, do you want to promote our store?" And I was there sitting. Are these guys for real? what makes you think you're gonna get away with this? You know, and they had like an entire store page that they like linked me to, and they had obviously it was like official products that were being sold unofficially, of course.
Were they like typing to you or writing to you in clear English, or was it broken
No,
English?
it was actually clear
Was
English.
it in Russian?
No, it was like a proper store and everything, and I'm just like, man, these
Yeah, that's the thing.
The balls on this
Hentai
guy.
Haven
The
store,
balls.
the Hentai Haven store as well was like he had already even made like a landing page for it, and he was like, "This is the lineup for the stuff," and it was like T-shirts. Obviously, it wasn't anything like too like amazingly well designed, but you know, it was just simple stuff like just the Hentai Haven logo on a T-shirt or something. And I'm like, no, that. And then 2 weeks later, I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, they got that whole thing happened where they got shut down, right?
I wonder if it comes from disdain from the major companies more so than them, because they don't actively brand anything. They don't do anything. They don't have like a hee funny Twitter account, right? Like, like KissAnime never did anything. I think it's just because
it's all community driven.
I think a lot of the community just does not like the big guys, which whatever.
They're easy to share too.
Yeah,
Like,
there they are. They
if
are.
your friend doesn't have an account and they're new to anime and you're trying to get to know anime, you'll link them to like a pirate site.
And also, it
Yeah.
works on in every country, right?
Yeah.
Unlike
Yeah,
a lot of the
exactly.
official stuff. So.
Like I do think there is a space for piracy. I mean, I made an entire video on fan subs and how that was like really, really important for the community and how it helped it grow. And I will make that argument that I do think there is a space where piracy did play a part in helping anime grow, especially abroad. But I think it's gotten to the point now that anime, I don't know, it doesn't have that same effect anymore because anime is now big enough where everyone knows anime.
Yeah.
So I think I think there's still like a lot of countries where that kind of need piracy to help boost like anime to make this a truly global medium. But places like the US and like the UK and, you know, places where you have a lot more accessibility and the fandom is a bit bigger, it's like that argument doesn't hold as much water as it did fucking 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I mean 10 years ago, not even further beyond that, right? The whole Western community came from piracy, right? Because you had to get like a bootleg, like why did I say H like that? VHS tape, right? You had to get a bootleg one. It was all shared around. Right? It was all piracy, but obviously, like you said, it's growing out of that. And I guess some people want to hold on to that and argue that's.
I think that's the biggest problem, though, right? Is that a lot of the discussion that revolves, especially around anime piracy, is like. Both sides of the argument is very, very much like situated on both sides of the spectrum, right? It's like you either hard agree that piracy in anime is bad, or you hard disagree. Like, there's very rarely any people who are kind of like, there's benefits, but there's also demerits to it.
Because I'm definitely someone who's in the middle.
Yeah,
but like, it's hard for me to get involved in like any discussion on Twitter because if you say anything, they either put you on one side or the other. You're either like hard into piracy or you're like a fucking Crunchyroll and Funimation or Bookwalker shit, right?
I guess filthy Bookwalker
Even though I work at Bookwalker, like. I know I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm in between. Like, the only reason like I'm technically in this industry or I got interested was because there were pirate sites.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you into it, right?
Yeah, and I got into it. And I mean, now there's just so many subtitles available, so many platforms. There's really no excuse, but you know, if you want to see something fast and in low quality and maybe the translations aren't because it's stuck in Netflix.
One question I always had about, you know, on the Japanese side of things is that how aware are the Japanese companies of all these pirate sites?
Very aware.
Are they very aware?
Yeah, I've talked to.
It feels very Japanese. We're like, we don't care. I sleep. Oh, you're pirating our anime? I'm woke. Like,
no, they care. They're very strict, especially like not talking about like websites, but for example, YouTube.
we know.
Yes.
Fair use is not a thing in Japan.
Like when we've worked with sponsors, right? If we want to show just a screenshot of an anime, if they're sponsoring it, they'll bring that up. They're like, could you have rights to show the screenshot? And I'm like, it doesn't matter if they have a problem. Like, because I guess the YouTube mentality is right. If it's a problem, they'll let us know, right? They'll copyright us, right? Whatever, we'll fight it. Or if it's really unfair and I've just uploaded a 10-minute Family Guy or 24-hour Family Guy stream, I probably shouldn't be doing it. Right? But most of the time, it's like if they have a problem, they can come and tell us. Right. Well, I feel like they're very much a risk-averse mindset where it's like, just don't ever allow that situation to happen.
Yeah. So, like on the Bookwalker side of things, how much of an effect do you guys see on piracy on your side of things, and is it how do you go about justifying that as well?
That's a hard question.
That's a toughie.
That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded
That
question.
is a hella loaded question.
I mean, if you don't have an answer, that's fine.
I don't really have like a huge answer. Bookwalker is technically very new, and despite it being around for almost 5 years, when a pirate site goes down, we don't see that much of effect because our users, the people who have been like coming to our store like every month are the type of people who want to support the industry. So if people who have been stealing for years and they don't have money, even if the site goes down, they're not going to come to our store.
Right.
Like that's like in the West, but in Japan, there's this site called, or it used to be a site, you know it, Joey, Mangamura.
Yeah, Mangamura.
When it went down, like there was a huge increase in sales.
Mangamura was basically like the Kiss manga of Japan. It was one of the biggest manga pirating sites, and that got like properly shut down. Like the founders were like straight up charged and went to jail and everything. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because a similar thing happened to a big Western app recently, which was Manga Rock. That got shut down.
Oh yeah. They didn't really shut down.
Did they not?
They like pivoted.
Yeah.
And They shut down the app in many ways, and then we're like, hey, we have other stuff, check it out. Like, so.
But like, .ru basically.
But like after they shut down, did you see any change at all, or increase in traffic or sales or anything on your side?
Not so much, I would say. I mean, because they also like, I don't know, share this. Okay, Bookwalker is like more popular for light novel readers.
Right.
And usually pirate sites have manga. So when they want to read something like, I don't know, manga or whatever, and they want to pirate it, they're going to stick to other pirate Besides,
Is there any noticeable difference between the spending habits of Westerners and Japanese on manga? Anything that like you're allowed to tell us?
Because I think the general stereotype is that the Western audience is very fucking stingy.
Yes, extremely stingy.
I remember it because I think I had this mindset of I'm not paying for any media when I was like 13 because I grew up with just like pirating everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think once you take that step of paying for media, I think you don't go back because you're like, whoa, that was really easy.
That's the thing. It's like I always feel piracy. Yeah, exactly. It's like I always feel. That's why I've always said like piracy isn't exactly a bad thing because I feel it's just a stepping stone towards getting into the actual fandom.
Yeah,
and then once you're mature enough and you've made your own money and whatnot.
I do think most of the time, not saying it all the time, it's normally the younger ones who are diehard like piracy, and it's like okay, that normally comes from having no income at all. Right. Maybe your parents give you like $10 a month or something. I don't know. You can't spend that on.
Yeah, you're not spending that on a light novel, right? Like no one's gonna do that.
No, like it makes sense that then that you hopefully transition into it, and when you get older and you get more monkey brained like myself, it becomes really fucking annoying when you're looking for 10+ minutes to just find a link to watch what you want to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I will throw $10 to make this problem go away. I want to watch it comfortably and just. Yeah,
reliably, right?
And then but then there's people who argue like, oh yeah, well there isn't the good services to watch anime or read manga. There is. It's just most of the time people don't want to admit that. Like, even using Crunchyroll here in Japan, it's a bit of a pain because I have to use a VPN. Yeah. It's still less annoying than going to KissAnime, opening up 5 fucking tabs, pressing pause 6 times before all the ads. You all know this, right? You've used too many pirate websites. When you're like, all right, how many times do I have to press play before it actually plays?
It's 3 times. 3 is the magic number, right? It's always 3.
And then you better fucking hope to God you don't have to pause that bitch. Because if you pause that bitch and you want to press play again, you got more pop-ups.
No, because I always want to skip the anime opening. And I know to skip the anime opening,
fucking pause
the cost you pay is 3 extra clicks. Just because you want to skip the anime opening.
And then sometimes you completely fuck the buffering and you've got to reload the whole thing. And then before
and then it all starts again, right?
And then before it plays, you cannot allow this thing to play. You need to skip to 1:30 before it even allows to buffer. Because it might fuck up and you cannot rebuffer. So I just want to avoid that dance.
And that's exactly why I stopped using KissAnime like 4 years ago, right? Because I'm just like, I'm better than this. I don't want to go through this torture.
And Chromecast exists now, right?
Yeah.
I want to cast that shit to my TV.
I just want to press one button and it goes on my TV. And you can't do that with pirate sites. Yeah, you know what I mean? And
or Android you can, right?
Some of them you can, but it doesn't always work. Like sometimes you'll be watching it and you'll be like, okay, cool. Episode 1 allows me to Chromecast. Yeah. Episode 2, none of these web players on the mirrors allow you to Chromecast. And then you're like, fuck's sake.
It's the YouTube anime like part 7 is missing problem all over again, right?
And then you have to it's like, do I just cave in and like just watch this on my phone and just be really annoyed for 20 minutes, or do I, and that happens to me. I have to do that because obviously sometimes Crunchyroll doesn't have it, and then there's no other way for me to get it, and it's. Or Netflix, fuck Netflix Japan not having English subtitles.
Yeah, I fucking hate that. I've not been able to watch so many shows that should be available to me because...
You put the Netflix to UK, boom, it has English subtitles. Why can't you just put the subtitles on the Japanese Netflix? You have the subtitles. Why would you not offer them?
I don't have that problem.
If you wait a few months, though, it'll show up. What? If you wait a few months, the subtitles do get on there.
I'll just wait a few months.
For Baki.
No, Baki, they were there straight away.
Were they?
Yeah.
When I was watching
was
the
there
first
straight away.
season, though, it wasn't there.
Yeah, it's just it's fucking rolling a dice whether Netflix will put English subtitles on it. It's like, oh, maybe it will. Maybe I'm going to go and watch this anime. Put it on. No subtitles. Fuck.
Like one thing I never got about some of the things some of the reactions I see on Twitter is if you're gonna pirate anime, that's fine. I know plenty of people pirate anime, but there's been this like movement recently that I've seen where people are just like fucking like proud of this shit. Like, you should pirate anime. That helps everything. That helps the industry. And I'm like. Bruh, like I get it. You want to pirate anime, okay? Like I do it. Everyone fucking does it,
Yeah.
But there's a difference between I watch some of my shows pirated too. Yeah, I stand up for this shit. I'm gonna defend this shit. That I don't get that.
I think what it's maybe come from, I don't know. I'm speculating here, is that like you get so many influencers and people in the industry who like actively shame people who admit that they pirate, right?
Yeah.
And even us, right? Probably talking about saying that we admit that we pirate is probably a risky move, right? Like Crunchyroll could easily turn around and be like, we're never working with you again, right?
Yeah.
Like, thank you for the free account, by the way. I love it. I do actually use my Crunchyroll account. Thank you, Miles. You're an OG. I love you. But you know, just us mentioning that we pirate, right? You know, maybe there's some other YouTubers out there that would be like, "How dare you admit that you pirate? You should be a role model to those."
That's,
and it's like,
yeah, but that's like saying like, you know, oh no, I didn't drink until I turned 18. I was like, bullshit.
I mean,
Everyone drinks before they turn 18.
Yeah, but
right?
you're not a 16-year-old. You're not there as a 16-year-old being like, guys, I'm getting fucking hammered in the middle of the fucking city. You know,
I'm proud to defy the law.
Yeah. I had alcohol before I was 18, which is the legal drinking age in the UK.
Yeah.
But I wasn't there shouting it out for every fucking parent to see.
Right,
I wasn't there
exactly.
in the fucking off license being like, hey, by the way, I'm 16. Sell me your fucking alcohol.
I'm doing something illegal.
I think it's so much more approachable for viewers and people who watch us, and especially people in the industry, to admit like, hey, at one point I did pirate, but I even now I still pirate when I
What's
have to.
important is the word "did," right? It's
like-
that you did pirate, but you don't actively
I
only rely on pirating now,
Yeah,
right?
if I have a choice to pay and get it done easily, I will.
Yeah.
Because I'm lazy, and that's what I'll do. But,
Yeah.
I think having this mindset of you can never admit that you pirated, you can never speak,
No, that's
say that has
dumb.
any merits. Like, I feel like it just actively pushes people away from having any form of constructive, like, argument.
Yeah, because I think actually most people fit somewhere in the middle.
I think so. I think so.
But the only takes we see on Twitter is either like people actively like slut shaming piracy or something like that, or just
simping on piracy.
or just simping on piracy. And I'm like, neither of these are correct, and I don't know why these are the only takes I see on Twitter.
I think as well, one thing that drives a lot of people away, especially from the bigger figures, like a lot of the voice actors and a lot of the people in the industry, is that like just actively like saying like, you are wrong. I am in this industry. I know better than you.
Oh my God.
Although, okay, there is a sense of that, right? You are in the industry, so maybe
Yeah.
you have a bit more of a point. But as far as a voice actor goes, it's like you have no fucking say in what happens. You're doing a job, like you're doing a service. Like as far as you're concerned, you're just in the show, and that's where your like commitments end. You've no bearing on the show.
Yeah, you're not in the industry.
Oh no, right. And I think it's. I think that a lot of these voice actors are also forced then to like, you can't, because the way the industry works, you can't be like to your friend, no, you're wrong. Because if you're seen as problematic, like, no, it's serious. Like if you're seen as problematic, it's like, oh, well, maybe a director won't hire you because you're noted for being a bit of a dick on Twitter.
Right.
You don't support. You said anime piracy was good, and we wanted to hire you, but I guess you're going to pirate.
I think a lot of people don't realize that just actively shaming people and we'll just push them away to the other side, and it doesn't work by saying, hey, you shouldn't pirate. This is a bad thing, even though technically it is, but that that doesn't mean that people don't pirate for like a reason.
As weird as it is to say, it's like a really weird form of gatekeeping almost. It's almost like a reverse gatekeeping where it's like if you pirate, then you're not a real anime fan. You really don't support the industry, and it's like, no, you can eventually get to that point, but you have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And if piracy is your only option, then piracy is your only option.
Yeah, because I saw like, it was like a tweet, I don't know, there was one of the takes that was like, oh, it's not available in your country, tough, it wasn't made for you. And it's like, whoa. It's like, yeah, okay, no one has right to anything, right? But also, if you can't get it legally and you're a fan of the stuff, like, yeah, fuck it, who cares? Pirate that shit. There's no way for you to pay for it. Like, what? Why? I don't understand why this is such a, no, you can't.
There was another fucking horrible take, which was like, anime's a luxury. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
We saw like this like list of fucking like horrible arguments towards piracy. It was like, anime's a luxury, and you should be you should really like be proven lucky that you even get the chance to watch any of this stuff. I'm like, it's just a fucking cartoon, bro. Like, chill.
I know some people who like work like 2 jobs, have no fucking money, and they can't afford the like 3 subscriptions they need to watch all the shows they want. Yeah, dude, kick back and relax. You deserve that shit. You've been working hard, man. Like, I don't give a fuck. I would, if someone is broke as fuck, I would not shame them for pirating. I don't care. Like,
I think that we can all agree that probably the worst take is the whole anime merch take, right?
Oh god.
Like I buy anime merch, therefore I have the right to pirate. Like,
I think we all buy a lot of anime merch, right?
Yeah.
Used to, right?
I used to buy a lot.
Oh, okay. Tell us the reason why, man.
Yeah, why is that? Why is it a past tense?
The real reason is just kidding. No, I can't share that one.
It's too much tea in this episode. The tea is being spilled. Okay, but like, what do you, as someone who actually works in the industry, what do you feel about like that argument of like the I buy anime merch, therefore I have the right to pirate kind of thing?
I mean, you can't use it as a reason because I don't know how to explain this. Like, for example, royalties for goods. So I've heard from friends in the industry that they go to different departments. It's not always directly to like that specific creator.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Like,
So what you're saying, like if they buy merch, the money still doesn't go back to the original creator.
It does. It depends, I think, on the contract they had. So I've heard.
Okay.
So I've heard.
Okay.
I'm not in that department.
I imagine the bigger of a brand the anime is, the easier it is to get a better deal in terms of royalties and cuts, I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because one thing that always confuses me is that people think that, I know, there's a lot of arguments that have been made that doing X is better for supporting the industry than doing Y, and I don't know how much. Like, I don't know where they're getting this information from because none of these people are like working in the industry. So every argument I see on both sides of things is a lot of the time just anecdotal.
It's all speculation, right?
And just speculation.
Yeah, there's no theory behind it. They're just like, oh, I mean, I feel good buying merch. You know, it feels like if I buy official merch, right?
Yeah.
Because it's tied to that particular IP.
Yeah.
You just feel like, oh, I'm supporting it. I'm helping to spread the love. I'm putting money into something that's official. So therefore, in the back of their head, they're just like, yeah, that's gonna go back to the creator in some way, right? Like they own it.
Doing anything.
Right.
Yeah, of course. But is it the best way to support that particular creator of the IP? No.
Not the best, but better than nothing.
What is like so the best way just legally streaming, paying for the services? Is that the best way? In your opinion?
I've heard that the DVDs, Blu-ray DVDs, for example,
Oh,
and
yeah,
in
they are
Japan, I'm not
expensive.
sure about the US, but in Japan, buying the Blu-ray DVDs is the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
That's when they know. Like,
Yeah, because
oh,
they
I
measure
should-
success from Blu-ray sales, right? That's
Yeah.
normally how it's
that and
done.
like the original sources sale.
Yeah, like
That's
the
what I've
manga.
heard.
Oh, so the
I see,
manga
I
and
see.
stuff like that.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Because I always try to make sure I buy my manga firsthand now. Like
Yeah.
even if it's like an older series where I can easily go to like a book off or something and buy it for 100
Yeah.
yen, like I always just try and go to the bookstore,
Yeah.
the first-hand bookstore, because like I've heard that is truly the best way to support
Yes.
the creator,
Yeah.
right?
I guess because when it's pre-owned, right? Like
The royalties don't go.
Yeah, right. 'Cause
Yeah.
I mean, like 2/3 of my JoJo merch is like pre-owned stuff.
That's because it's like
You can't get that
yeah,
stuff
you can't
anymore.
Get them.
Yeah.
Because for some reason
It wasn't made for you. It wasn't
Yeah.
available at the time.
You don't deserve it. I deserve all the JoJo merch. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I spent thousands of dollars on like Yahoo auction, right? That none of that
Oh.
goes
Yeah.
to like, because a lot of the time as well, like this merch is like what, like $100, and then 2 years later on Yahoo auction, it's $300, and someone made a nice profit. I mean, good for
Yeah,
them.
Iraqi's definitely not seeing that profit, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, the only thing that I've bought that's like brand new is probably the Jump Store stuff that we both bought. Like, because the JoJo exhibition
the
museum
exhibition,
was
yeah.
cancelled, and normally you have to go to the JoJo exhibition to get the stuff, but they were like, hey, you can just order it online. So I ordered
Not
like
the suits.
the suits as well. I got,
Glam
but
shirts.
but the thing is with the suits, right? That's Bandai collaboration with Perfect Suit Factory.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like two companies that are making this thing before.
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
gets
they're
to the
taking
creators.
most of it, right?
So like
Yeah.
these $500 suits, how many of that goes to like, you know, Shonen Jump, and then are like the animators aren't seeing that shit, right? The animators are still underpaid as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's
Well,
anything
they're
we can do for.
underpaid because it's just
Yeah.
Japan's salary, the average salary in
Yeah,
general.
Yeah.
Mike!
Mike,
The
man, Mike
average
is taking a
salary
beating.
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
like in general is low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like with animators, it's a like systematic problem with how the industry works as a whole.
That's
rather
a
than,
whole
like-
other can of
That's
worms.
that's a whole other can of
You could
worms.
argue that's also just like Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole different argument to be had. But I think one thing I see with a lot of like Western Twitter and Western people is that I feel like they don't want to support the industry, mostly because they're not happy with like some of these bigger companies or like the image of like say Crunchyroll or Funimation, and it's less of I don't want to support the industry and more of I don't want to support these companies in particular.
Yeah, you don't want to support the companies that are representing the industry in that country, right?
I can understand it at times because, you know, there's a lot of arguments that people make, like underpaying translators. That comes
Yeah.
up a lot, and you know, like last year, like it was like voice actor apocalypse with Funimation. Like, there's a lot of reasons why people might not want to, right? And it's tough because it's
It's because I don't think there's a right or wrong argument, but what I feel sometimes is that a lot of people won't support the industry unless there's like a perfect system where all the money they go to goes to this one creator. Like they want
like a utopian system.
like a utopian system where like every creator has a fucking Patreon or something, and they can support any creator they want and how much they want, and that's just not a business model. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people use that justification to say, hey, we're not supporting the creator how I want to support the creator, so I'm just not going to support anything. And I feel like there must be a better way to go about it than that, because there's never going to be a perfect system.
Trigger kind of did the right thing, right? Like they have a Patreon, they have a Twitch stream where they do live draws.
Patreon get?
I'm not too sure,
I
but
think I checked and I was like, that is nowhere near enough to.
Oh no, definitely not.
No,
It's basically just like a side revenue for them. But at least it's a way that will actually go directly to the studio.
True.
And is a payment method or a donation method that Westerners are very familiar with, right? So
I think it's good to have just an option to do something like that. It's like, hey, do you want to directly support the studio and like, you know?
Pixiv has that. It's not a studio, but like there are some illustrators.
Oh yeah,
Right,
Pixiv
right,
kind of has that as well. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's really the only thing, and barely anybody's utilizing it, right? Like I've never heard of a manga artist using Patreon. Right?
Is it like do you reckon there's like a pride thing in Japan, like not wanting to ask people for money? Because like begging is really like not a thing here.
That I don't know.
I mean, culturally, begging's not even a thing.
Like
not even homeless people.
Yeah,
beg
you don't see. Yeah, homeless people like just do their own thing.
Yeah,
like that. Just like, all right, fuck
It's
you.
true. I've never seen a homeless person beg.
Yeah, no, because
it's not a
really
thing.
disrespectful.
Yeah, it's not a thing here. Like, there's even the homeless here are respectful, where they're just like, no, keep your money.
Yeah, they're like, I'm homeless. I still have my pride.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. I think it's just a different culture.
There's a lot of it that comes down to that, though. I think in the industry and how people want it to change, and it's just not going to.
I also think a really big root of the problem when it comes to at least the anime industry is that they truly, even though in my experience, having done stuff with a lot of different studios and productions and whatnot in anime, they're aware of the Western industry. They just don't really give a shit about them.
Yeah,
like
I would say they care a
they
lot. They
care.
just don't know how.
It's
what
not
to
their
do.
first priority though.
Yeah.
Their first priority is always the Japanese market, right? And that's how they measure their success. I mean, of course, I'm sure all of these studios now. It's 2020, right? Like, I think most of them are aware now that there are way more Western fans who are into their anime than there will ever be Japanese fans, right?
I mean, China alone, right?
Or just Southeast Asia. Even
all the mobile games coming out for China.
Yeah.
Even if you just look at Southeast Asia, right? That's more people just in general who will watch the anime and enjoy the anime and be willing to spend the money on it. But because the Japanese anime industry is a lot of it is so old-fashioned and thinking just locally, that they're just like, okay, we understand that there are all these people out here who are probably willing to pay for our stuff.
Yeah.
We just don't know how to do it. And we can't be bothered to figure out how to do it.
I mean,
It's Japanese culture in general, though, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, it's just like, for example, the DVD and Blu-ray business model is just not going to work abroad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can prop up the anime industry here in Japan, and it has for like the longest time, but it took them like how many years to figure out that people just don't want to buy DVD and
That's
Blu-rays.
like if Crunchyroll was like, we're going to open up a Blockbuster tomorrow. Come on in and rent your DVDs. It's like, no, it's not. It's shocking how many people in Japan do not know streaming services.
Yeah.
Like even young people are not aware. They're like, oh, you can watch anime on Netflix? What?
They usually record it on their TV, like when it's
when it's playing on TV,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's like,
Record
I'm not
it.
staying up till 3 a.m. to watch a fucking Rent a Girlfriend episode.
I've never
sorry.
seen a place where they like sell CRT TVs so much. Like, why? Like there's CRT. I mean, Smash players are probably like, yes. But like everyone else is like, why the fuck would I need a CRTV? Like,
Yeah.
there's
Even know
so
what a
many.
CRTV
Those
is.
big fucking chunky ones
The
with
brick
static.
TVs.
Like, I see so many of them for
The
sale.
TV that you grew up with, like the giant, like the fucking brick
thick.
of a TV, the thick boys.
Oh,
I was in Akihabara, and it was like a brand new electronics store. There was like LCD, like thin TVs, and there's a whole section for CRT
Yeah.
TVs. And I'm like, who the fuck is buying this?
Retro.
Genuinely, who the
Retro.
fuck is buying CRT TVs?
No, because like
except for Smash players.
Yeah, except for
But like the secondhand store culture here in Japan is fucking on another level, because you go into a secondhand store and they have they have like fucking laser discs in like pristine
Perfect
condition.
Dude, I bought a fucking like full laserdisc set of all the episodes of Evangelion for like 500 yen. I don't even have a laserdisc player. I was just like, holy shit, why is this here? And why is it such good quality?
If you love retro games, my god, like they have every single retro game system. You can buy like an N64 like used for like $20.
Dude, I bought my N64 brand new in box for like $90.
Yeah, you could get the SNES in box like $50 in stores. It's crazy. You could get like Genesis games, which are normally really expensive in the West, super cheap everywhere here.
Yeah.
Sorry, going on tangent. Just it's crazy.
It's
how
great. If you like retro games, come to
Maylene's like,
Japan.
what the fuck is this
I
podcast?
space out like half the time.
We just talk mad shit. Maylene's like, yeah.
Yeah, what?
So, like, in your guys' opinion, then, what can be improved in like the industry and how they approach, marketing themselves to the West, and obviously never getting rid of piracy, because I don't think piracy is ever gonna disappear. But how could you
Chill the fuck out. That's what I'd like. That's like the one piece of advice I wish they would take. Like,
I think
just
it
calm
would
the
just take a
fuck
little bit
down.
more time. Like the next 5 or 10 years, it'll probably be much
But
better.
I think it's sad, right? Because I think what would take 1 or 2 years in American companies, right, if that, right, is like 10 years in Japanese companies. You
have to remember, it's like an island, and
I know it is. I know, but it's so.
It's really telling though when like Japan is like still stuck in the 80s with like how they run their businesses. Sometimes I'm just like, it just doesn't work.
But again, I
in
think it's
today's climate.
just every single thing that's like, why are they doing this? It's just a cultural thing, right?
Yeah.
It comes back to like it just
I definitely think one thing that will really, really help is just having an interest to listening to like the foreign market is doing, right? Like, and a great start, for example, is like working with foreign YouTubers like us, for example. Because I've convinced some companies to be like, oh yeah, actually that's a really dumb thing to do in our company, and they stopped doing it, and it's worked out for them just because we understand. It's really telling when we understand the foreign market more than the actual industry here.
Yeah.
And we're not even that, highly knowledgeable or like, that in depth about how the industry works, right?
Exactly.
Like, we've just been around it and kind of surrounded by it, right?
I mean, you see it time and time again where a Japanese company just is like dead fast and sticking to what they want to do and not changing. I mean, if you even look at like Konami, right, with like Kojima.
Yeah.
Like, they kicked Kojima out because they wanted to focus on mobile games and pachinko, and that's all they fucking do now. It's pachinko.
Yeah.
And sure, it's working great in Japan, but as far as the Western community is concerned, Konami's a dead fucking company.
Konami died like 5 years
ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Konami hasn't made and I think Capcom's kind of doing the same road, right? They made like...
the moment Capcom axed Mega Man, they were just dead.
And then what was the other game they brought out recently? The top-down shooter that was fucking awful. I can't remember what it was called.
I don't even know that.
You keep up with them?
Yeah, dude, I keep up with all the game news.
Yeah.
And it's just embarrassing because it's like... All Konami does now is pachinko.
Yeah,
it's
these companies that were like Goliath companies and that everybody knew who Capcom and Konami was, right?
Capcom, Konami were giants in the NES era.
Yeah.
You just couldn't adapt to the generation, I think.
Even with Konami, right, when they had Kojima, like Kojima was steering them in a good joke. I don't know inside politics. It looked like. I mean, he was breaking like PT, right? Came out. That was who they canceled that.
Silent Hills.
And they
Metal Gear
completely
Solid, all
scrubbed him
those.
from Metal Gear 5. Like, it was just like, I mean, it's time, and I mean, that's just one really public occasion, right? But I mean, just interacting with them, we see this kind of stuff time and time again, where it's like you have like the perfect idea, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're allowed to talk about and what we're not
hard,
allowed.
but it's like also hard for them to kind of try something new because they have no data to back it up.
But that's the thing, right? If no one is willing to try anything new, nothing happens.
There's no data for something that's new, right?
Are we allowed to talk about the audiobook, for example? Or is we allowed to mention that? Like how, like, okay, so when we did the audiobook, the Yaoi one, plug, go and buy it. We were trying to pitch to some of the companies saying, hey, would you mind like helping out with the funding of the audiobook? Because basically how the audiobook got made was I put all my money into it and I hope that it sells well and I make my money back and it's worth 1 month.
Luckily it did.
1 month of my life, right? Luckily you guys are amazing. You guys bought it. And I mean, it was, I mean,
you're so stressed out that month.
Oh my God, I was fucking losing it, dude. I was stressing out because it's like when you're in charge of it solely, it just takes one person to not do what they're supposed to do to ruin everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so shout out to Seigi, man. Amazing audio editor. He came in clutch. He did an amazing job. And it turned out really well.
Yeah. We did 2. One was a test.
One was a test. It worked out. We proved that it was successful, right? So we had the data that this would sell well. And so we went around pitching to...
Several different.
Basically saying, hey, you're going to get guaranteed sales with this. Would you like?
We had the data.
Yeah, it was like
data.
hard evidence that
Yeah.
this would get you at least X amount of sales.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it would get you X amount of sales. You would definitely get a return on the investment. And none of them wanted to like even remotely go close, right?
And what was
Yeah.
their reasoning behind that, though?
Yeah, what was their reasoning? I can't remember. It was something like they just didn't think it would work, right?
No, I think it was not that. It's just they didn't want to put their money into it.
Like,
normally
they
how
didn't
it
want to
works.
put their money into something that
Would get
they
them
had
money.
the hard evidence that it would work.
Yeah.
And then I just decided that because originally we were going to publishers and being like, hey, do you know we'll choose one of your books.
Bookwalker supported that one too. So it was like Bookwalker and you supporting that project.
Yeah, both of us, right? Like
Yeah.
we have a track record that I'd done it, but none of these companies were willing to like even give it a shot. Like I didn't even need that much, right? Like I produced the audiobook for like $2,000, which is a lot
Yeah.
less than like. I mean, that also
For 1
helps.
month of time.
For 1 month
Every
of
day.
time,
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
it nonstop. We made a video about it, like they were getting an insane deal, right?
Yeah.
And none of them wanted to do it. And then
Well,
we
we got
just
the
chose
okay.
one.
Yeah.
I just chose a book that I like, did it, and it's been like what, like number one, number one.
Every month. A top 10, I would say.
It's like top 5, top 3
That's a flex right there.
Yeah.
for like every month since it came out. And it's just like, it's so frustrating wanting to do these bigger projects and none of these Japanese companies just wanting to even give a chance when
Well, that's just called bad fucking business.
yeah, well,
isn't it?
we know that it works, right? We know that we can make this work, and it's so frustrating having to work with these companies.
I've always been curious. How did you convince Bookwalker, a Japanese company, to start working with like Western YouTubers? Because I remember that like
Yeah, I wanna know how that works.
The first
Yeah. Joey was the
time,
first one
yeah,
we
Joey
worked
was the
with.
first one, but I think Bookwalker was the first Japanese company that
Yeah.
ever contacted me. I think like still now one of the only ones that have like ever gone out and contacted us.
yeah, without Bookwalker.
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
and,
because-
and that was your idea, right?
Yeah.
So how did you convince them to do that?
I mean, before, I guess, using YouTubers, I
Using
was...
YouTube.
I'm sorry.
we milk them dry.
That's a bad way to say it. Jeez. I'm sorry. Before collaborating
There
with
we go.
YouTubers.
Get those buzzwords in, Maylene.
Yeah, because I was doing marketing for them, and I guess I still was. I'm not in
Yeah.
Bookwalker now.
Yeah.
But I've tried so many things. I've done like SNS ads or collaborations with cosplayers or fan art artists.
Right.
Okay.
And I worked with anime clubs and
Anime clubs?
yeah, I worked with anime clubs.
Wow.
Because they had movie nights or they want to have, I don't know, manga
Oh, so you
reading
sponsor
circles.
the movie nights?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
You paid them?
We gave them like free books to
Oh,
say,
okay.
oh,
Okay.
maybe you guys should read it, because the idea was they're going to be the ambassador of their community.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you give them like free manga, they'll check it out and then they'll give it to their friends.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
If only there was some way to just reach a ton of people really easily, like the
Yeah.
internet or something.
Yeah.
I actually
Crazy.
didn't.
I mean-
Yeah, so I was like googling around, like what's bigger than an anime club? What's bigger than a cosplayer?
We gotta think bigger.
Keep your brain like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 years ago
Yeah.
now.
So I didn't even know that anime YouTube was a thing. I knew like anime music videos.
Very illegal
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
In their eyes.
I've made anime music videos, but anyway,
Fired from Bookwalker.
no. But yeah, so I just knew about that type of like anime YouTube. But then
Yeah.
I was a big follower of a lot of like Japanese vloggers, or not Japanese vloggers, Japan vloggers, like
J-vloggers.
foreigners.
J-vloggers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
J-vloggers. And then Joey appeared in one of the videos of the person that I was watching, and I was like, this person's called Anime Man? does Anime Man? Oh, this could.
That's some gigabrain marketing right there.
So,
Wait,
like,
so you didn't even know he was an anime YouTuber?
No,
If he
I-
wasn't called the Anime Man,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have like looked into
Gigabrain
it.
branding right there.
I think you weren't even talking about anime.
If I wasn't a J vlogger,
I think it was like Charla's video. Charla in Japan.
Oh
Charla.
yeah. I mean, if I'm collabing with J vloggers, I'm not going to talk about I can talk about other things
Sorry,
as well. Yeah, I don't think I was talking about anime at that point.
I don't
right?
remember. I think you were like mixing drinks in a royal host.
Oh yeah, some
Maybe.
stupid thing
I don't
like
know.
that. Yeah.
But
Anyway.
yeah, I not Googled you. I just clicked your videos and
Yeah.
then I just started watching and I was like, what? There's people that review anime? Why would anyone want to watch that?
Why would anyone want to watch
I hate reading. Yeah, I hate reading people's comments. Like, for example, Crunchyroll videos on the bottom of the episodes.
comments, yeah.
Yeah.
I hate reading those.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, you know, they might not like the same character or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want people to say they don't like what I like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
That's
think
some
I
garbage
watched,
opinion.
Yeah.
Like dubs are better than subs or something, and I was like, I don't agree, but let's see if he likes manga. And then I emailed, and I was like, oh.
Not gonna lie, the
Yeah.
first time I got your email and it said like from like, you know, it was like
Kadokawa.
yeah, Kadokawa. I was just like,
Whoa.
Fishy.
I think this might be fish. I think this
No.
might be a phishing email. I'm
I
not too
actually
sure.
thought the same
Yeah.
because I remember the first time you emailed me, immediate delete because I'm just like, there's no way this is legit. There's no way this is legit.
Maybe I did email you, and then I asked Joey, he's like, you know, I think this other anime tuber is not replying at all.
Because I was like, there's no way Kadokawa's emailing
Yeah, I
me.
was like that. I
Yeah.
only know one Kadokawa, and it's like the
Yeah.
anime company Kadokawa. No,
and I
And I
remember
used Kadokawa because Bookwalker is actually like a subsidiary.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
Kadokawa.
Yeah.
Right,
it is
right,
100% Kadokawa.
yeah,
Yeah.
No one knows at that time.
Yeah.
Or maybe.
yeah, because I'd never heard of Bookwalker. I obviously knew Kadokawa, but I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what is this shady company
like,
that's
Kadokawa-
using?
Maylene.
I'm sorry.
What is this shady company that's using Kadokawa's name? I'm like, there's no way this
so
is legit.
I legitimately like I got the email because I was living in Australia still at the time. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, I was
No,
already
you
in
moved
Japan.
here. It was like
no,
4
no.
or 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I was
don't
already in Japan. That's right. And I remember like I sent that email. Like I forwarded it to my mom and dad just to
I
be
wrote it
like,
in English,
does
though.
this look legit? Like I'm really scared to reply.
Why is it
to
in
this.
English?
Yeah, why is it in English? And why is like the name Maylene? Like she doesn't sound Japanese at all.
know. Southeast Asian.
And I was like,
Yeah.
well, you know, I'll give it a go. If it ends up being a fish, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was the best email I ever sent. Because
I asked you to come to the office too. And
that's
then,
right. That's right. Yeah.
And
And then when you
use it.
gave me the address and I looked it up on Google Maps, I'm like, okay, this is legit.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
actually in one of the Kadokawa's
Yeah, yeah,
office
yeah,
buildings
exactly.
or whatever.
I think I heard. Was it true that like Kadokawa just didn't like they wanted to meet the YouTuber before they did anything
It's not
with
Kadokawa.
them?
It's just Japanese
Japanese
businesses
business,
in
yeah,
general,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
to
They-
know if they're a real person, or just to
To
get
know if they're a real
Like
person.
just the idea of
to
just
judge if they're good people or
so
not.
like that if Joey wasn't in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Would there possibly have been no collaboration? Because like if Joey
I
didn't
mean,
come to meet
our
you guys
first
in person-
conversation was actually on Skype.
right,
Yeah.
right. But
'Cause
would
he
that
didn't
would
do
that have been
it.
good enough to secure a deal? Do you reckon?
Probably not.
Probably not, unless there's like a foreigner in the group. Like
I
at that
don't-
time, I was like the only foreigner.
Working.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
think
was the
so.
first foreigner in
Yeah,
there.
because I remember like when I went to the Bookwalker office as well. That was like probably the first time I ever went to like a physical meeting
Okay.
in
Yeah.
Japan. And since then, God, I've every time a Japanese company's like, we'd like to meet up with you to discuss
Like,
this thing. I'm
why?
like, do you know what email is?
It's
I
it's
don't
good.
want to leave.
I think without like, I mean, you guys starting it, I feel like they wouldn't have even considered YouTubers, right? I can almost
yeah.
feel like the Japanese companies
I think
talking
it took
to
me
us.
like 4 months to get approved. No, not 4 months. Maybe 2 months to get approval.
Which is actually incredibly fast compared to some of the other
For a
projects.
Japanese company, that's really
5
fast.
years and my number changing, my
Yeah.
email
Yeah.
changing.
I had to like do, I guess, a lot of like data. Oh my god, I'm gonna get caught. I'll be like,
Did you cook the books, Maylene?
yeah,
Is that it?
maybe it's like the
What,
inflow.
baby?
I
from
crunched the
YouTube.
numbers.
I did. I made graphs. I was like, the inflow from YouTube is like the best for, I don't know, reaching the hearts of teenagers.
Reaching the oh
something.
God.
Yeah, so I still probably have that slide, and I was like,
Let's
YouTubers are
quantify
this
how well YouTubers can reach their viewers'
Yeah.
hearts.
You're probably wondering for the past hour, what are these figures? We don't know what this is.
Well, it's because this episode is sponsored by EJANiME Store.
EJ standing for Entertainment Japan, by the way. Carry on.
EJANiME Store is Kadokawa's official anime store that sells anime, gaming, manga.
Directly from Japan. If you didn't know, Kadokawa has published huge titles such as Evangelion! It's capitalized in the script. The Haruhi Suzumiya series, ReZero, Konosuba, and more.
And because Kadokawa is producing these directly, what better way to support the industry itself?
There is no better way. Look at all these beautiful things that we have on the table that are from EJANiME Store and that you can get your hands on right now. Look at all this asana. There's 3 asanas in front. Well, actually 4 asanas in front of me right now.
What does EJ stand for again?
Entertainment Japan.
To give you an idea of the stuff that you can get at EJANiME Store, they've brought in a few of the items.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Maylene.
Speak of the devil. This is one of the the things that you can get at EJANiME Store. What is it, Gaunt?
Did you have to aim for my face, Maylene? This is from Fate. Do you know Fate, Connor? It's from one of the spin-offs.
It's from Fate, Khalid, Ilya, Prisma.
So we don't have it here, but it should be on screen, which is the Fate, Kaledia, Linear, Prisma, my god, Ilya's Val von Eisenburn wedding bikini version, 1/scale figure.
I'm fucking dying.
What did I just pronounce? But it does come with the t-shirt that Gaunt is modeling if you do buy that figure.
Look at that. Beautiful. This is the only Fate franchise you should care about because there's lesbian lollies in it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's in the shot.
I'm also told the clothing, veil, and other clear parts are painted with pearl coloring. The veil, pareo, and bouquet are detachable.
There's also this figure, which is the Data Bullets light novel White Queen 7th scale figure Kadokawa special sets.
And this figurine already looks just absolutely incredible.
This is fucking great. Just
So much detail
look
in
at
that. And the best part about it is if you get this beautiful figurine, then you can also get this lovely B2 tapestry set with it as well.
For free.
For free, gentlemen. For
You have to
free.
say
There's also my favorite anime series, Sword Art Online. This is a Sword Art Online figurized standard Asuna Dengeki Pearl Color limited version set with a beautiful Asuna tapestry as well that comes with it as a special bonus. There's also these two other Asunas as well, which is the Asuna Vacation set. I mean, she looks like she's having a good time on the beach there.
Oh yeah, that's
she's about to get lathered up.
There's the regular version, and then there's the ALO version.
if you want your own beach episode, there you go.
Yeah, it comes with the beach.
If you like any of these figures, be sure to go and check them out at EJAnimestore.com or click the link in the description below. As they've only recently opened, there will be tons of more merchandise coming out soon, so stay tuned.
Connor, what is the
Entertainment Japan. Thank you for sponsoring us, by the way.
Back to the video.
So, did YouTubers work, Maylene? Am I going to scratch my own
I
back
don't know.
here?
Did they? Why are you guys here?
I guess so.
Yeah, I think like one thing that a lot of people might be interested in is that you're a foreigner working in like the anime and manga industry in Japan.
You're basically living the weeb dream.
Yeah.
basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, man.
how did that happen? How did you find a job in Bookwalker Kadokawa as a foreigner?
You know,
I know this
I
story.
think I know the answer to this.
Craigslist Tokyo. Tokyo Craigslist.
Do you want to tell the story about how that happened?
Oh, well, I was working at a marketing consulting company in Japan.
Right.
Yeah, because you've been living here because you were married to a Japanese person.
Well, yeah, like my second year in Japan.
yeah.
But I was working at a digital marketing agency, being a consultant for several different Japanese companies who wanted to like get, I don't know, global traffic to their site or something.
Yeah.
I said that
I
weird.
guess that would count as foreign.
Yeah.
It's so far.
I don't know why you're freaky. Calm down, man. It's okay.
Am I sweating? Oh my god. Oh my God.
Don't wipe it on the table.
This is fine pine, man.
Where was I?
Are you talking about the global?
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
You threw me off, and now I'm like, what was I even talking
You were talking about how you got the job at Bookwalker.
Oh yeah, and then I needed a bicycle one day, and I finished my work, and it was like during lunchtime, and I was like, oh, I can just check Craigslist for a cheap bicycle. They're like $30, $20. I'm checking on Craigslist, and then I found the bicycle. I didn't buy it though. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if there's like actually legit jobs on Craigslist, like
Right.
besides like foot massage,
34
yeah.
whatever
and
it is.
Looking for F.
Yeah, because that's the image
yeah.
that Craigslist has in America.
Yeah.
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 Or a fridge full of cockroaches.
Yeah, you're
right?
the one
Yeah.
who made me get that fucking fridge
In
full
my
of
defense,
cockroaches.
when you buy something on Craigslist, you first look at it in person and then you decide.
I'm not going
You
to
don't-
some fucking person's house to check out a $10 fridge, Maylene.
Why didn't you Amazon it then?
Because
Well,
you
now
were-
he knows better.
Maylene
No, well,
was-
now he
you were
knows.
highly insistent that the cockroaches, the Craigslist may as well be a cockroach.
Craigslist changed my life.
You were
okay?
so insistent, so insistent that Craigslist, dude, you should really go to Craigslist, man. You're gonna get a mad deal. I was like, fine, Maylene, fine. I'll get a fridge from Craigslist, and then had fucking cockroaches in it, Maylene.
But
That's
now you have
on
a story.
I do have
Yeah.
a story.
Yeah,
and
we
I
had a
love,
story and a great
which
clip.
which
I
we've
love
told.
the story, but
Yeah.
I hate you.
So this job, what did it say? What jobs did you find on there?
Oh, I think it's like
Looking for F in our area.
like it said like digital manga marketing specialist, and I was like, what? They're looking for something like that? I click it, and it doesn't say the name of the company. It says like, oh, Chiyodaku Itabashi, and I'm like, wait, there's only 2 publishers that I know of in this area, and I was like, it's either this really big one or like this kind of the biggish one, and I Google I knew it was Kadokawa, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna Google every single Kadokawa like department and see what their like
What they're looking for.
And then I found book art, and it matched exactly kind of what the Craigslist thing was, which was, looking for someone to go overseas to different anime conventions to market our store. And I'm like, I love
And
anime
native
conventions.
English, so.
Native English. No Japanese required. And this was like 5 years ago. And like my Japanese is nowhere fluent. And at that time, it was even more horrible. So getting into the anime industry or manga industry, you need to like speak English, or not English.
And Japanese.
And Japanese like fluently, like beyond business. And, so I was like, I'm never going to work in the manga industry unless it's like in America. Then I could like apply.
Yeah. But you got it.
Oh yeah.
That's like insane, because if I saw that ad on Craigslist, I would like think it was a scam or something.
Yeah.
Like imagine KADOKAWA going on like advertising a fucking job on Craigslist.
They didn't say the company name though. It's just
but it's still on Craigslist. That makes it even more sketchy, right?
I fully expect it to just be like KADOKAWA, like something, just like one letter off, right? It's like, it almost sounds like KADOKAWA.
It's like I saw in Rent a Girlfriend. It was like a Tamily Mart.
Tamily Mart.
I was fucking losing it. I'm like, all the letters Tamily Mart. I don't know why it was so funny. I was losing it. I don't know. Oh my god.
Or the golden Audi McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's.
Never gets old. Never gets old.
I was gonna do a video on Craigslist, and I remember. Why are you laughing? I suck dick for video. I wanted to see what was on there, and so I found this ad that was like looking for YouTubers below 10,000, and I was like,
what?
What was it all about?
Yeah.
This is in London, so I called them up. And it was, no, not Japan.
Oh,
okay. I don't feel weird about that in Japan. And so I called them up, and they were like, yeah, we want to pay YouTubers below $10,000, below 10,000 subscribers, $5,000 to move to our platform exclusively. There's a woman on the phone. I didn't tell her I had like 1 million subs. And she was just like, she was going on, and she was like, yeah, so we just need you to be in an exclusive deal with our partners and all this. And I was so confused. And I was like, what the fuck? I never heard of this platform since.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh yeah, but, because I was a guy, obviously. They were like, yeah, but we're only interested in women as well. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's like red flags coming up.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I wonder if I had like stumbled onto like the greatest like prostitution network or something. I don't know what it was. To this
The
day,
new
I still,
X video.
to this day, I still don't know. I have the phone call recorded on my PC. And then I told them I had 1 million subs, and then they were like, oh no, we're not interested. And I was also a guy.
Why 10,000?
I was really confused about that.
Is it because like if like they want to like drop out, for example, or if there's like drama, they're like, this guy's only got 10,000 subs. They won't go anywhere.
They kept saying stuff that was like too good to be true. They were like, one, we'll give you $5,000 to move. We were in the UK as well, by the way. That was already like, that's weird. And then also they were like, we can give you premium ad rev rates of like $10 CPM. I'm like, get out of here. $10 CPM? Fuck off. No way. I was losing it. I wish to this day, I still want to know what that was. I don't know why I told that
Did
story.
you even check their website thoroughly?
They wouldn't tell me what it was. They were like, it's download. It's on the download. And I'm like, that's weird.
That sounds sketch as fuck.
That
man.
sounds sketchy.
That sounds sounds like a hiring ring for like a prostitution, like a black market prostitution.
That's why I never want to use Craigslist, because every single story I've heard from Craigslist is
apart from yours, apart from Maylene.
Outside of Japan, I think Craigslist is sketch.
Yeah.
Like,
have you gone to like the like the section where you can pay for favors?
You can?
Oh yeah.
No, that's like the community or something like that.
There's one where it's like for old people. It's all just like 40, 50-year-old women looking for like dudes to just give them a good one.
Is this in Japan?
And the UK and the US. I checked all of them. Because I wanted to see if there's anything crazy about Craigslist that I could make
I'll
a video
find you
on.
something crazy.
Don't tell me you're gonna make a video.
No, I did not.
Okay, thank God.
So tell me that's where all the hot, sexy singles.
Craigslist.
In my area, they're all on Craigslist. Not KissAnime. God damn it.
That's why you're not homesick.
What if you just clicked on the KissAnime ads and it just takes you to the Craigslist?
No, dude.
It makes sense.
Dude, it's wild because there was like 40-year-old women who were married, showing their face and giving their mobile phone number, and I was like, "Whoa, you are playing with fire!" Surely.
That doesn't sound safe.
But also, you're married, right?
Yeah.
So I saw your face, Karen.
Every Karen is like,
You don't know if it's their real photo.
Yeah, true.
it could be very much a
It's
scam.
definitely have to be their number, though, right? I mean,
I don't know.
Unless they
I guess we have to find out, Michael.
there's only one way to find out. I would totally call her just for a video. I'd do that. I mean, I have like no qualms about doing that, like calling them, but
Okay, but like steering back to the conversation.
Sorry, yes, we got off topic.
Yeah. Let's stay back to the conversation. So like, I think we can all agree that like Maylene's story is very much a rare case, right? Like,
Is it a rare case?
I think so. I've never heard of anyone getting into the anime industry through Craigslist.
Yeah.
I think it's because people who probably most people know or you guys know are in the U.S. working for U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
anime
Was
companies.
there ever a time you wanted to work in the US industry? What is that smile?
That smile just paints 1,000 words.
What is that smile, Maylene?
That is the most nervous smile I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. There was probably 2 companies that I applied to that were.
Did you get rejected, Maylene? Did you get rejected?
You got rejected?
Is that why you...
But they called back and they're like, "You were the second candidate we were."
They
thinking
say
of."
that
course,
to
of
everybody.
course.
That hurts even more. I don't want to hear that.
They say
Yes.
that. Yeah. But
It was
like,
like when I was a fresh graduate.
right.
Do you want to know if you haven't got the job? I don't want to know. I just want to apply.
I
and
wanna
move
know.
on. No, I want to move on.
I also I don't know, want to know the reason.
They're not
Yeah.
going to give
They're
you the
never
job.
going to give it to
They're
you.
not gonna
That-
give
I
you the
guarantee
real
to every
reason.
person who dropped, they said you were the second one. I guarantee it.
Honestly, we wanted to. We wanted to, really.
That's what I would do. But like, what would be, because I'm fucking certain, right, that not just people watching this episode, but I reckon like every weeb living overseas probably has that dream somewhere in the back of their head where they're like, man, I want to move to Japan. I want to work in the anime
Do you
industry.
get those
Yeah.
emails as well?
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
those emails. as
everyone
well.
gets them, right? We all get
Yeah.
them, right? So as someone who actually made it,
Yeah.
what is the advice you would give to people who like want to chase that dream?
Maylene did the
I know.
speed run round there.
Yeah.
Maylene got that green
it
card.
took a year and a half, I think.
That's pretty fast, though.
think
it-
For
that
Japan-
was
for
not
Japan.
why.
For Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No, no, no. You didn't get the green card to move here.
I was like, what? No.
I mean, that's the easiest way, though, right? I mean, that's what guys say, like, I can marry someone again.
Yeah.
Actually, no, not really. I mean,
Oh, true, true.
But like, what advice would you give for someone who's like looking to work in the industry?
Yeah.
in
As-
Japan,
Yeah, in
the
Japan.
most realistic.
Yeah.
Like,
Learn
if you don't, yeah, I would say learn learn Japanese. That's like the easiest way to get in. Not
Yeah.
fluent, like there's that JLPT where it's N1, N2 or whatever.
Right.
And I've heard like, oh, N2 is like
if you can get to
sufficient.
N2, you can pretty much snag like any job that's not like too
Yeah,
language
because
focused.
you're
or
native
be extremely
English, right?
knowledgeable about like the industry.
right.
That's like the biggest
Yeah,
thing.
because people ask us all the time. They're like, what's the best way? And I'm like, bro, I'm like in the weirdest situation.
Yeah,
Like,
this
asking me
you
is like-
don't take my career path.
Yeah.
That's a really weird career path.
We just
but
want to stress we're not part of the industry. we work with the
we work with the industry.
Why?
We are not part
We're
of the
not in the
industry.
industry.
Why are you asking a YouTuber on immigration law? I don't know anything. You think I know immigration law? Fuck, dude.
You should, because you immigrated here,
I
right?
barely know how to file my taxes correctly. Come on.
But like, are a lot of Japanese like companies hiring foreigners?
Yes, they do actually. Quite a lot are, especially in the past year or two.
Right.
They've expanded to like the global market. Why are you?
Because people watching this are like, write that down, write that down.
There's like so
Open
many.
tab
okay,
Craigslist.
Yeah.
Okay,
Japan knows how popular anime is
Yeah.
overseas. That's why, of
Yeah.
course,
Could
there's like the cool Japan thing.
If,
Yeah.
if Bookwalker did a job application today, what would my CV, my resume need to look like? What's
Yeah.
like? What are we looking for?
Because
What's
we
the points we need to hit?
and you can tell us this because you're probably going to be like, if a job opening ever opens up,
would be
you'd probably be the one doing the interview, right? So
What do you expect from
what's
someone
gotta be on
who
that
wants to
CV,
like
man?
work in there?
I don't know. I'm not in like that team anymore.
Give us your thoughts, Maylene. Come
Yeah.
on.
Well, like
spit some facts my way.
hypothetically, because you also have to hire for GeeksPlus, which is
Don't
also
be
very
like
similar.
an incel or something. Like,
Wow.
don't be a
I haven't heard
nervous
it
wreck.
So a bit
I
of
think-
charisma.
Yeah, and have like a social life kind of, because you got those really weird.
Can you?
That's a real
when they-
tall order
wait,
for
when they come in, do you can you sense it straight away?
We did some like interviews recently, actually, where we did it through Zoom or like
Right, right.
video
Yeah.
call, and like the thing I was like looking for is like they
Bit outgoing.
smile, and
Right.
like,
I don't smile.
and then
though.
I also like we asked them, what's your favorite anime series or something, and it's not the anime series they choose, it's the reason why they like it or whatever.
If they say
Jules.
Naruto, Normie, get out of here.
It's like, oh my god, he said that serious. No, no.
Every application you're going to have from now on for like every CV is just not an incel.
Yeah. Not an incel, smiles in a Zoom call.
And they have to have
KADOKAWA.
experience. I would say experience is like the biggest thing, because
Experience in what?
working in like in
Oh,
a company.
just anything?
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a lot of a lot of experience that a lot of people are missing. You know, that just working in a company environment is actually really valuable in my
corporate
opinion.
experiences.
Yeah, corporate experience.
Definitely.
Or if they're like fresh graduates, to at least have a few like internships under your belt.
Yeah.
There's some people like in my like previous companies I worked with in the past, like they're new graduates, they go into the job and they don't even know how to use Excel. So if they're like familiar with all the Microsoft stuff.
I mean, it's something you never like actively learn how to use. It's like Excel and Word, but it's like such a necessary like skill to have working in a corporate job.
Yeah.
Which is knowing how to use Excel. It's not on any like job application, but it's when I was working in the BBC, I had to use Excel for fucking everything.
Yeah.
I'm convinced my engineering degree was an Excel degree in disguise. Like, I'm convinced. Because we used Excel for everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
We had we had classes in high school that was specifically towards Excel.
Yeah.
So
Same.
what's like the main points, right, on a resume? Like what if there's the three most things that you can have as a candidate for applying?
What stands out the most?
We're not talking about like don't be an incel. Like actually
I'm not really
skills.
I'm not like the final judge for this.
No,
thing.
but just like
in your opinion,
yeah,
right?
in your opinion.
Just like the way they write their like intro paragraph
Right.
about themselves.
Oh shit, that's actually important.
I don't know. For me, I read it and I'm just like, what do they say? Like, do they sound passionate or they're just copy and pasting top 10 best ways to write a cover letter or something?
Oh yeah.
Well, in Japan, don't you have to write every like letter and like resume by hand?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
Nowadays, though, it's electronic.
that's too
Yeah.
much.
So there's like what is the little job fair they do when they like leave school? What's that called? They spend like a year trying to get
shukatsu?
it.
Yeah,
and
shukatsu.
they can write up to 100 applications by hand. The same shit.
Yeah.
I would lose my damn mind.
I had to do that when I was applying for internships in Japan.
God.
I think I wrote 30.
Jesus
And
Christ.
that wasn't nearly as much as some of what like my friends
and
did.
apparently they look out for like if you care enough. And I'm
Yeah.
like, to me, that just like seems like, why is this the thing that we're caring about?
Yeah, it's like,
just
I don't
nothing.
care. I just want money.
Yeah.
Give me the
I'm
experience.
here to make you money.
Yeah,
Shut up.
give me the
Like,
experience.
can we just be honest here and just say, why do you need this job? Because I'm broke and I just graduated and I need the fucking money, okay? I need a job.
Yeah.
Just give me the
job. Fucking hell.
I do like it when they're extremely passionate too. Like
In what
not
sense?
saying like, oh my god, I'm like a huge love liver and I've loved life for everything. It's more like, you know, I was in a difficult
Shout out to
time.
the Love Livers.
I would never hire someone who's obsessed with love life or anything. You know why? Because their loyalty will never lie with you, ever.
Yeah.
No matter what.
But you can bribe them.
That's
like-
true. But for how long
I
can
have
you bribe?
tickets to Muse.
How long can you bribe them,
If you
Maylene?
don't finish this, I'm ripping it.
Because,
Okay.
all right, your phone just slammed on the floor. Very
Oops.
dramatic.
Oops.
But okay, right, let's say, you know, they're addicted to gacha. Who knows how long it is before they do one too many gacha rolls. They coming at you with a raise. They want a raise, Maylene.
Yeah.
They're broke.
They wouldn't ask me. They would ask like the CEO for the raise.
Okay,
Right,
but
this is what I'm saying. You cannot
hypothetically,
trust
if you
love life fans.
hypothetically,
In Japan,
if you
though,
were
no
the
one
CEO,
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what? How would you respond to that?
Well, first I would ask, oh, what have you been doing this past year differently? And
Yeah.
like, how much have you affected this? Like, how much has the sales been affected by your work? And what do you want to try doing differently? If I gave you this much money, what are you going to do? Like, how's
So
it
it's
going? Is it
basically-
really going to better your life?
So it's basically another job interview, is what I'm hearing.
Is what I've heard. I mean, I don't have any underlings. The old
Underling.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
I don't have any
No, because
slaves.
Overlord over here.
because one
My
thing I
English is weird.
because
Yeah.
one thing I find fascinating is how the story of like we all have you to thank for like this podcast and being here in Japan,
think
because
an
it's
awful
all
lot. This
yeah,
is
right.
it's an awful lot of what we've done is thanks to Maylene. She's
Oh.
like the brainchild to a lot of it, but like I find
I
this
just got lucky, okay?
The
I just got lucky.
brainchild.
yeah, but like how did the story of GeeksPlus forming come to be? Because you made GeeksPlus.
Oh.
GeeksPlus is the agency that we're all
Oh, yeah,
under.
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason why we're here.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're here.
Why?
So like how did that come about?
So like KADOKAWA has like a new business contest or competition every year, and then within their like departments they also do like business competitions.
Right.
Right.
And the first year I decided to like submit something, and it was the GeeksPlus thing.
Hell
And
yeah.
Usually, well, I didn't want to submit it before because there was like, the prize money was like this much, and then this particular year the prize money was like this, and I was like, Maybe. I want that money.
I gotta beat it to
So,
win
so
it.
wait. I got to ask
Okay.
because I remember the exact meeting where you asked me, have you? She asked me in a meeting, have you ever considered moving to Japan?
Yeah, we were just casually talking.
Yeah, just casually talking. But did you have that prize money and that competition in mind when you
Yeah.
asked me?
Hey man, I respect it. I respect
I
it.
respect the hustle. I respect the hustle.
Like, I don't
Thank
give
you.
a shit about these
Wait.
YouTubes coming
No,
out.
no.
Like
Are
that
you-
cold hard cash.
Are you allowed to tell us how much you got?
I think
from
it's like, okay, so like people will say, oh, it's not that much, but it was like, I think they told me it's like, oh, the prize is gonna be like,
I mean, that's
not
that's
for an
like
idea.
that's like a decent bonus.
Yeah, for an idea. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
But-
but what I want to know is how you managed to convince them, because as we've all talked about, Japanese companies are fucking difficult
They never want to try anything
to
new.
try anything new,
Yeah.
and convincing Japanese companies to send over like 3 or 4 AniTubers and just sponsor their visas and
well, I
Like,
had
get
an
out-
advantage. You guys have been working with like Bookwalker for at that point like 2-3 years already.
yeah.
So I had data and like data.
Yeah,
They
but-
love
But
data.
as we know, that
Yeah,
doesn't
we know
always
from the
work.
Yeah.
Yaoi audiobook that that's not always the case, all right? Like, that's not guaranteed.
That wasn't enough though. This is like 3 years worth.
Right,
God, never enough.
It's all about that data.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So-
The Excel sheets. The Excel sheets.
Exactly. Excel sheets and PowerPoints. And so I think in the back of their mind, they were already thinking like, oh, if we had this business, it would be interesting. And my superior boss at that time was like giving me a tip, oh, maybe you should submit that idea because maybe they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess I have enough data, so let's do it. And then I won the thingy. And then
Did you have like, was it like an apprentice type pitch where you had to like go into like a boardroom meeting and
Yeah,
just
I
actually.
attended one. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was the first week I moved here. They were like, "Do you want to come to this thing?" And
yeah, and then
I
you
didn't-
met Mr. Kadokawa. Like
Yeah, I
the
met
top,
the
Yeah.
yeah. It was weird because I just sat down in like the most like sterile room you can imagine. Imagine like just like 100, 200 Japanese businessmen in the quietest room in your life, and I came in because I came in midway,
Right.
so I was making so much fucking noise just trying to sit down. 'Cause, of course, my seat was in the middle.
Yeah. And you were
why
like
they
the
sound like-
only non-Asian.
And I,
think.
yeah,
We're
dude,
like-
I was like the only
like,
like,
who?
and I was the only one not in a suit of some sort as well. So I come in with like my t-shirt and jeans, making
Excuse
some
me,
noise. I'm like,
excuse
yeah,
me,
sorry, excuse me. Sat down, and then one of the Japanese people kept translating in my ear, and I was like, just stop translating. You're making too much noise, and people are looking at us.
It's
just
embarrassing.
yeah, I'll just pretend like I know what's
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, yeah.
But they were all really good sports
Yeah.
about it. They were nice to me
It was
afterwards.
like that. We
Yeah.
had like a new business plan format document. You fill it out, and then within that, I think it was like over 200, maybe around 200 applicants. And then it narrowed down to like 50. And then when you're the top 50, they narrow it. You don't do anything. You just like make like a 3-year,
business plan.
yeah.
Where did I go?
What?
Why did I go again? There was free food and drink. There was really good
Yeah.
sushi and free beer.
Yeah,
so
there
it
was, like,
really
yeah.
good.
Dude,
Sorry,
if
go ahead.
there's free food and drink, I'll go to anything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Because-
exactly.
Okay, not gonna lie, right?
And you were bored probably.
I was.
You had no
I
friends.
had no internet.
They
nothing.
didn't arrive
Yeah,
yet.
they weren't
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I think I felt bad because I've been crashing on Joey's couch for like a week. I felt really bad that I was bothering him so much.
No, that's fine, dude.
But yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but I
that's
come on, man. And then yeah, but okay, right. This is the thing, right? Company parties, at least in Japan, they don't spare any expense with food and drink. They do such good food and drink. Okay, Maylene's a food snob. I don't count her opinion.
No,
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
it was good. It was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But like they have like bomb food and drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah,
it's
the
like
best.
always so
It's
good.
so good.
Like they'll have like restaurant quality like food just
Yeah.
there for you, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I want to.
It is a
Yeah.
restaurant though.
Well, no, it's like a hotel, and then you just bring in a platter, and you just like dig in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like sweet.
And
Yeah,
all
it's
you
like,
can
hell
drink
yeah.
alcohol.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's good. People, awkward people, and the Japanese women taking photos because
Oh
you told them.
yeah, they were like
They're like, this is the guy who made the yaoi, the one that you had to check for the sex noises.
The Bookwalker like support team. I think they're mostly women, and
Yeah.
then like
That was so weird.
yeah. This
So-
is the man.
they're like all fangirls of you. I think.
The 93% back at it again.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I was
Let's
so
go.
confused because like none of them could speak English, so I was like, why are you listening to my
Some
stuff?
of them are like. For the reason why they knew about you was because I think it was last year when we did the first audiobook, they were playing it on speaker because they would get like emails from customers saying, "Oh, I don't know how to play this MP3," and so they're like, "Oh, let's check if there's a problem," and they play it and they just end up playing it on speaker.
Did they play the new one on speaker?
Think what
The
it-
new one has like a hardcore sex scene. Like
Yeah, I
at the
don't
end.
know because what is it? coronavirus. We're working from home,
That's
so
good. God
Probably.
So they played it on the speakers at home.
Yeah.
probably, probably.
That was weird
Definitely.
because then I was just eating, and then they were like, "Can we take a picture?" And I'm like, "Who are you? Like, why are you?
We're your fangirls.
What is this?" It was so weird.
So did you expect to win the competition at all, or was it like a fucking
Completely
surprise
derailed.
for you?
Yeah.
Kind of a surprise, I guess.
I knew I was the best.
No. Like, well, my boss at the time was saying, like, oh, you have like maybe like a high probability because he was the one reviewing the other business thing.
Ah, okay.
So maybe he helped me a lot.
I mean,
thank
it's
you.
a pretty radical idea, right?
Yeah.
Especially in like such a traditional company like Kadokawa,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Do you know what other ideas you were competing against?
Yeah, they're kind of like manga service, like manga subscription or something like that. Like
That would be good as well.
I mean, that would be good for Japan.
mangarock.jp. Ever heard of that?
Sweats profusely.
So, like, I kind of want to talk about the opening party of GeeksPlus because that was probably the most extra business party I've ever been
Oh
to.
my god.
So,
sad I was.
yes, so Connor wasn't there.
Star restaurant.
Connor wasn't there because he was at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
Yeah.
So there was about like 10 iPads scattered around this entire like
Three
iPads. Okay, 3 iPads, whatever.
Yeah.
Scattered around this like 2-star Michelin restaurant. What was the restaurant that it was like held at? Anyway.
It's owned by
Delicious.
Kadokawa,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So I didn't know that Kadokawa owned so many things outside of just like anime and manga.
Multimedia.
Yeah. And so we were at this 2-star Michelin restaurant, and Connor had to join us via Skype or Zoom or whatever you were
It
using.
was like a stupid time for you, right?
It was like fucking
Your
like.
face was like this.
It was like 10, 11 p.m. or something.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah.
And they had to do a speech, and it was like the most fucking awful speech.
I remember like you were like in the fucking hotel room, like a downward like
because I was like,
phone.
it's like boku no name wa kono
You
de.
said, he said it all in Japanese, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
Nobody. Like to explain. So this is like there are a lot of important people at this party.
How
Like
many people were there? Maybe like 50 plus, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
50
more
plus.
than, like,
Basically, it was like
100 maybe?
there was like Mr. Kadokawa was there.
Yeah.
There was like pretty much any anime company.
My anime list CEO.
The CEO of My Anime List was there. I didn't even know that he was Japanese. You know.
Yeah. Danny Chu was there.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Andrew
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah, basically, like any company that is like in Japan, any big company, there was a representative for that company there. This was like the biggest dick energy I've ever been.
Yeah.
And Connor on a night.
And so I remember we had to do a speech in front of all these important people. And I remember the CEO of GeeksPlus,
Kurimoto-san.
Kurimoto-san, like kind of he introduced us to like make our speech, and I was like fucking shitting myself because man, I
See you were shitting
I was shitting myself because I had to talk in front of all these fucking people, and I couldn't speak a lick of Japanese, so I had to speak in English. But I remember that he introduced us, and I remember hearing something like, "Oh, the heroes of anime," and I turned to Joey. And I was like. And my Japanese isn't that the greatest, but did he just call us the heroes of anime for Western anime fans? And Joey was just like, yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, why would he lie like that?
The heroes of like I was just like doing the blinking me. I was like,
To
I'm
be
sorry.
fair, though, like, I would say it's kind of true. Like, there's a lot of people that.
I know
love
there's a
anime
lot of people who would disagree with
Yeah.
that, and I'm not sure if I
well,
would.
a lot of people call us the villains of anime, if anything, right?
There's some people probably who are like in the middle of nowhere that have no anime friends, and
Yeah.
they're getting bullied for it, and they're like, "Oh, these people are like anime, and they're actually cool.
Punch him back.
Like anime's not a lame thing." Yes, I
Yeah.
called you cool.
And all I remember was like I was suited up, Sydney was suited up, and
Yeah.
then like Joey rocks up in fucking I can't remember what you were
I
wearing.
wasn't a JoJo shirt.
And then Eddie.
and like shorts, and I was like, and I looked at Gant like so properly dressed with like collar, shirt, and everything. Sydney was in like this really nice dress, and
Yeah.
I'm just there with like my jeans and like fucking sneakers, and I'm just like, sup, hero of anime here.
I took.
No, but they're like,
I did
oh,
that to another party.
To them
as well.
though, this is like, oh my god, that's how YouTubers dress. That's like, you know,
They don't give a fuck.
celebrity wear.
Celebrity wear.
Celebrities
But I'm
wear
wearing
like
Uniqlo 90%
jumpsuits.
of the time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so celebrity. I wear Uniqlo everywhere.
Yeah, but I don't think that anyone understood what I actually said in my speech. You're the only one who anyone could understand.
Yeah, I mean,
was told no one could
A lot
hear
of them
me.
did speak
Yeah,
English.
because you
though.
started speaking and the speakers just weren't on. So all we could see was.
It was an amazing speech. It was such a good speech.
what was more hilarious was just not only just not Connor's speakers not being on, but just 50 Japanese businessmen just like really seriously just looking down at the iPads, just being like,
They're paying attention.
yeah, they were paying
You
attention.
have to bear in mind as well, I can't see anything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just talking into a webcam. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see shit. So as far as I know, like, I'm just talking in the fucking void over here with my shitty Japanese. Boku no name wa kona desu. Oh my god.
That was really funny. Yeah.
But no, that was like a really interesting experience for me because that was like a holy shit moment. Have I made it? Is this the point?
We met some really fucking cool people there.
Yeah, yeah.
Who was like
Yeah, I wish I did
the person
too.
you
I wish
met
I'd-
It was
that
like,
like stood out the most, or which company did you like freak out over? Like,
I was so many. I mean, I,
Kodansha was there, Shueisha, Shogakukan.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, like the Shonen Jump guys were there.
Yeah.
But I think the coolest one, because it just kind of came out of nowhere, was I think I was talking to the Shonen Jump people, and they were like, what manga do you like? Like what are you interested in? And obviously, I laid out a bunch of Shonen Jump stuff, and then one of the guys was like, oh, what about stuff that's not Shonen Jump? Like, I'm just genuinely curious.
Right.
And I think I said Berserk, because I fucking love Berserk. And then literally the moment after I said Berserk, some guy tapped me on the shoulder and was like, hi, I'm the publisher for Berserk. I was like, oh,
The editor. Okay, great.
Was it his like things like Dusty? He's like, I've never done anything. I've been hired for 5 years and I haven't done anything.
I've never even met Mira in my life. No, and so he said that, and I read the card. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that is like the publication for Berserk.
Yeah.
And I just said like, not to be rude, what the fuck is Mira doing? What is he doing?
What's going on? What's going on with that?
Yeah, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, you're his publisher, right? Like,
Yeah.
what? Just give me the details. What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing? And he's like, oh no, he's working hard. Don't worry. I'm like, yeah, that's what they all say.
Idol master in the background. Yeah, I'm
exactly.
working
It's like,
hard.
Yeah, I'm working hard. I'm working hard.
You winning, son?
Yeah, no, but that was really cool. Danny Chu was really cool.
Danny Chu was
he
really
was one
cool.
because like I think it's safe to say that Danny Chu is one of those people who really put anime, just like weeb culture
Yeah.
in the West, just like on the map. Because
Yeah.
I think it's not too much of a stretch to say that without Danny Chu's influence, I don't think any of us would really even be interested in Japanese culture.
No,
Like,
not at all.
especially people in the West.
He did so much for not only like our culture but our industry as well, because he was one of the first like foreigners who moved to Japan and really put a highlight on a lot of things going
Yeah,
on
to
in the
blog
Japanese
about
industry.
it and
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Because before, I remember it was just like Japan was just kind of a black hole. Nobody knew shit that was like what that was happening in Japan. We just got anime somehow.
Yeah.
But he actually like spotlighted a lot of the things going on, and if not for him, I probably wouldn't even have considered moving to Japan or have any
Yeah,
interest
yeah.
He
in the
did
industry
some
itself.
Great like motivational speeches at a lot of events like Anime Expo and
Yeah,
so
and he's a really down to earth guy
He's
as
so
well.
humble.
Yeah.
He's incredibly
Considering
humble.
everything he's done, he's
Yeah.
like so humble and so down
Yeah.
to
He
earth.
He just showed up with his doll.
Yeah, he
It's
showed up
so
with his
cool.
smart doll. Yeah, that was so cool. Shout out to Danny Chu.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you should have been there, bro.
I'm pissed off. I missed
How
out.
was the Crunchyroll Anime Awards compared to that?
Do we really want to go into that?
No, I mean, one day I came back in my room and there was a trash bag full of stuff that wasn't mine. Can you believe that?
What, in your hotel?
In my hotel room.
Who went in there?
I don't know. I called them up and I'm like, hey, there's just a giant bag of trash in my room. What's up with that? And they're like, really? They're like, they didn't believe me. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, come.
The maids probably cleaned.
Well, yeah. What I
thoroughly.
think they did is the maids were cleaning and they just forgot a bag. So I didn't care
Yeah.
that much. But
Yeah.
They gave me a letter that was like, "Dear Sea Dog, sorry that we left trash in your room." And I was like, why is it Sea Dog?
probably the name they put on the like
No, it
the
was Connor
reservation.
because I checked in with my real name, and I know the guy must have known or something. It was weird as fuck because then he gave me another bottle of wine, but it was like the terrible hotel screw cap wine. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, this is. I wouldn't even cook with this shit. Like, no offense, like it's just
Yeah.
fucking garbage wine. I mean, I'm not picky, but even I knew that.
But how was the actual awards?
Yeah, how was it for you? Because we
looked
both
fun.
went on different years. How was it?
I mean, I imagine it's the same for you. The best aspect was just chatting to the other creators.
Yeah,
like
by far, it felt like a holiday where you just got to like meet
I got
other
to eat
creators.
Chipotle. I've been missing Chipotle a lot. Although I was like because we would all eat lunch together, right? And I was like, Chipotle. I want Chipotle. And then one of I forgot her name from IGN. I think she was Hispanic, and she was like, no, Chipotle is garbage. I'm like, listen, I come from a place, recently, where they don't have any Chipotle or you know how hard it is to find a burrito bigger than like your index finger in this country? Impossible.
Yeah, I think out of every cuisine, Mexican is one of the hardest to find in Japan.
Yeah, I want a burrito that like fucking kills me. So anyway, that's the it was nice having lunch with them. Sorry, I'm going on the rant. But yeah, no, it was really cool. Their offices were cool. They'd made it into like
you got to see their offices, didn't they?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I felt like a little extra. Like, I don't know. There was a lot of free LaCroix. I didn't really care for LaCroix.
Millennial water,
LaCroix, right?
I think.
It's like the meme drink.
It's the most disgusting thing I've ever had.
Is that like White Claw?
No. LaCroix is like, it's like seltzer water, right?
Flavored sparkling water.
So it was weird because I think you went 2 years in a row.
Yeah, right? And I didn't go to the one where they were streaming at the Twitch headquarters. Were they streaming at the Twitch headquarters?
No, they were streaming in their office.
Oh, okay.
So there was like a back room with a small crowd of about 100 people. And it was fine. I really got bored of how many times you had to practice.
How many times did you have to rehearse? Because we only had to rehearse once.
4 fucking times.
Jesus. What were they rehearsing?
I think it was for the host. Because obviously he had a lot of lines. For me, it was easy. During the rehearsals, by the way, I mean, okay, so I got to tell the story, right?
Okay.
So they were like, they wanted us to have a mixture of scripted and do your own stuff. So as I think it should be, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to be on track, but I also want to, be myself. So they would ask me a question that was, Connor, who do you think is best girl? And during rehearsals, right? I never said like anything even remotely memey. I was like, oh yeah, like Rem. And then I texted Gaunt like an hour before the show started. I was like, yo, give me the worst girl. Give me the worst best girl. And I will dead ass say this like straight face in front of all these people. Like I'll do it I'll do it on the Twitch stream. I don't want because I thought I want to make this funny.
Yeah.
Like, in a good way that wasn't fucking with Crunchyroll, but just a way that we could get a bit of laughter out of it.
And I said Nina from Code Geass. That was the first name that came to mind.
So I remember I said that joke and fucking crowds like no one got
I watched the stream. I
was watching Garn's stream.
Yeah, I was pissing myself. I was fucking pissing myself.
I thought to myself because I knew no one was going to laugh at this joke, right? And I just thought to myself, I was like, the Twitch chat, they're going to love it. Twitch chat's going to love this. I don't mind. I'll just put up with the awkward silence for like 1 second.
I was watching the Twitch stream, and the moment you said that, I died. Twitch chat was fucking loving it.
But like the crowd and the audience and everyone's
like,
there.
is this thing on?
I remember the moment I said it, right? For some reason, Jacob from Faku was in the crowd, and I just made eye contact with Jacob, and he looked like this. I was like, and then I think I made like a joke or something. I made something to like try and segue it, and it didn't work very well, obviously. But I didn't give a shit.
No, it was great. It made for a great clip because it was like so perfectly timed with my stream. Because I was like, I told Connor to say Nina, and as soon as I said that, you said it. And it was just like the most perfectly timed moment I could ever hope for. He actually asked me what
well, the reason why it's canary
in the chat, he was like, they're gonna ask me.
It's because I just see myself
who best
in
girl
her,
is, who to all-time best girl is.
I have a soft, I'm soft for Nezuko. Like,
I told him,
she barely
say
says
Nina
any words,
from
and how
Code
can I relate
Geass.
to her that way? Like, without her, some of the battles would not have been won. So.
All right, fair. Connor?
Nina from Code.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was fun. I mean, we hung out in like the green room or whatever. It was chill, just chatting with. I remember I chat with Prosy D a lot. Really cool guy.
Yeah.
That man knows his anime. He knows a lot of anime.
He knows so much anime because I had a similar conversation with him, and I'm like, man, you know more anime than most AniTubers.
And we was just in this room and it was silent. Then you would just hear someone playing the fucking Love Life. Just Prosy D sitting there like this.
He's a Love Lifer?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a hardcore.
It's so I love it when he would talk because it would be like whenever Prosy D talked, everyone in the room was like, "Yes, Prosy D. Well, I'll listen to you." He has such a commanding voice. It's amazing.
Who has the deeper voice in real life?
It's like just two mumbles talking, I think, when they're talking. Because he's like, so I'll get McDonald's. I'll get McDonald's.
The subwoofer on this conversation is ridiculous.
The walls are shaking.
Overall, it was good. I think the parts I remember the most were like not the actual like awards.
Yeah,
I remember.
Same. I don't remember anything of what happened was that when I was on stage because I remember when I was on the Crunchyroll,
giant crowd on the
it was
second
a
one.
big fucking
That was
crowd.
crazy.
Like how big was your crowd?
Like no more than 100.
Right, because we were like they rented out a whole stage in LA or something. They had like a red carpet, which
I
like
saw,
an
that was
orange carpet.
huge.
It was like it was charming about like it was because it was still like a small scale event, but they really tried to dress this up to look like something official. And there was a lot of technical difficulties and mess up, but that's probably like. They were. If you watch the streams,
The
right?
technical difficulties in that year were glorious.
But they made for like great meme material, and
Oh,
it was like charming in its own way because it wasn't like the Game Awards, it wasn't the fucking Oscars, but they tried their best, and I think for what they had, they did like a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
B+ for effort, I'd say.
I think I think they said that they wanted to dial it back this year to make it a little more like have personality shine through a bit more, but I don't, it's still hard because I think sometimes some people aren't as good on stage as others.
Yeah,
Right.
Is
Yeah.
that your
Get a lot
first time,
nervous.
like, kind of hosting?
I wasn't really doing anything.
He was literally just sitting on a couch,
don't-
just
I-
cracking jokes.
I don't really get to the only thing I was nervous about was cracking that joke. Like everything, because I knew that was gonna. I knew no one would laugh, but I didn't mind. But other than that, I really don't mind doing stuff like that. That's fun. Like
So I remember the only weird thing that happened when I was on stage was I was standing next to Lily because I was hosting with Lily Pichu when I was presenting my awards, and so I was staring at the bright lights, and all I heard was. I love you, and I thought someone said, "I love you guys," and I shout out in the Crunchyroll Awards, "I love you too, man!" And then I watched the VODs, and the guy shouts out, "I love you, Lily."
Yeah, but that's even better. I would be like, no, I love you.
I love you. You may not love me, but
Yeah,
I love you
man.
unconditionally.
I mean, I don't think anyone noticed it, but yeah, I thought he was just screaming for us both there. That guy.
When they did the final award at our Crunchyroll Anime Awards, they had like a giant what is it called? The fucking thing they opened. What's it?
What?
Okay.
No, I think it is. They all had sake. That's part of the story. But they had like the big boxes that we had the names of the winners in.
Oh, yeah.
And the anime of the year had like a giant one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what they're called. I know what you're talking about.
So
Yeah.
when they did the giant one, they were like, yeah, okay, everyone's going to go on stage and we have fake sake for you. It's water. And I was like, oh, cool. So I have it, right? And I'm smelling it like next to Lily. I think you can see me and Lily in the VODs, like visual confusion because we do it and we're like, that's fucking sake. They told us it was fucking water. And then like me and Lily are like, God, that's fucking vile. And she's like, yeah, that's gross. They lied to us. Crunchyroll. What if I was like allergic to alcohol?
They gave you free alcohol and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Because there was alcohol right after the after party.
Surprise alcohol.
Okay, so we know that you're now working for Bookwalker and GeeksPlus and all that. That's really great, Maylene.
Why said so condescendingly?
Because that's not what I care about, Maylene. I want to know what you were doing when you were younger in Japan. What jobs are you doing?
We want to know about your weeb.
Yeah.
The
Your
legal
true,
ones.
your true weeb years.
What
wanna-
is your path to
Yeah.
getting to where you are now?
We want the viewers to recognize with your shonen protagonist arc.
Shonen
We
protagonist
we
arc?
need to build up Maylene.
We've
Before
told
Craigslist.
we've told all of our backstories.
Yeah.
It's time for us to tell your backstory.
Backstory? Okay, so I used to go to a lot of anime conventions.
As you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where am I going for this?
That's how you met your husband, right?
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. I forgot to tell the story, or
We
not
can
tell
tell
the
it now.
story. I wanted to say, like, the biggest tip is to envision what position you want in the anime industry and make, like, steps to get there.
Right.
Okay.
And the steps I made for myself is one, keep going to a lot of anime conventions and make friends
Yeah.
that work in, like, some, like,
In the industry.
In the
scene.
industry,
Right.
yeah.
And one of the people that I met at a convention happened to bring like Japanese rock bands,
Right.
Rock bands, like Japanese rock bands to the U.S. Anime conventions, and
Right.
then that person like introduced me to a lot of people that were in Japan. And the hardest thing for a foreigner, or not foreigner, for someone to get their
Foot in the door.
hardest thing is to get into Japan with the visa. Finding a job that'll give you a visa when you don't speak good Japanese is extremely difficult.
Yeah,
so the
yeah.
first thing I did was get a job that has no relation to anime to get the experience, and then try to do a consulting job that consults for anime figure like type of companies.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, meet people from that industry, get the know-how from them, and then apply to the job that I have now. But gosh, I'm like
that's
going.
calculated.
I calculated
but but at the end of the day, you know, it's that age-old like it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
right?
It is definitely.
But like I think I've heard like similar stories with other friend like Nabi, who I had no idea how he knew so many people in the industry. And I remember asking him, and he was just like, "Yeah, just go to enough events, just talk to enough people."
talk
There's
to
a lot of events here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like a nervous wreck. Like
Yeah, we can tell.
Do not be fooled by Maylene's nervousness. She is a killer.
All right,
there's only you guys in the room, so that's why I'm like comfortable with like if there's more than that.
Yeah.
Holy, oh my god, this would be soaked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like you have to meet people, network. And
and like a lot of people find that difficult in the US and everything, and abroad, because the only place I could possibly think of is like conventions and everything. But in Japan, there are like so many official events that you can go to meet people. What would you recommend then? Like, what should people look out for if they wanted to just, you know, be in the right place at the right time?
There's a lot of Facebook groups actually, and a lot of these Facebook groups are for like the otaku community, and sometimes they have industry people as surprise guests or like just show up.
Yeah.
So go to those and you can meet people. Or when there's like, they're kind of like panels, industry panels. You can meet people at the after party of these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've like from experience, I've had people. One thing I know that doesn't work is to just
I have such
go
a
up
good
to
story.
someone. Is to just go up to someone and be like, "Hey, I'm this person. Here's my business card. Call me."
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know what you do, bro. Like, I was like, what do you want to do with me? Like,
I've had that so much. They come to you really like suave, like, here's my card.
yeah.
I expect to hear from
Don't
you.
you small talk first though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, at least explain like what is the purpose of you coming up to
Right.
Yeah,
going
yeah.
up to people, right? Like what is the kind of connection that you want? It's not just about like I want to make a connection because I want a connection.
Yeah.
It's about why do you want the connection? What do you want to do with the connection? And explain why it'll be mutually beneficial, right? Don't just be like, here's my business card, call
Or
me.
if you know that they would be in a beneficial position, you know, sometimes I might just play it down and be like, oh yes, what do you do?
Yeah.
And they'll tell me like, oh no way, I'm in the same industry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
and then
exactly.
they're like, oh, that's organic, right?
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm realizing, all according to Kid.
No, because
Go ahead.
like it's because a lot of weebs don't realize that one of the most important skills you need to learn when getting a job in any industry is just social skills.
damn it, God, no!
No matter what,
Yeah.
you just gotta learn social skills.
want to talk.
I actually tutored like random people in English in Japan to develop social skills.
And like this is
important.
like like should be inspiration for all of you. If this nervous wreck can develop enough social skills to be working in the industry and convince fucking Japanese companies to form GeeksPlus,
Yeah.
there's hope for you
Yeah.
as well. Okay.
No amount of
Sorry
social
to do you like that,
anxiety.
Maylene.
No amount of social anxiety is gonna stop you, all right?
Yeah, the first time I called with you, I was like, wow,
Oh, yeah.
why is she so fucking nervous?
Yeah. On the phone, I think you were like, "Oh, it's okay, don't be nervous," and I'm like, "Oh, it's winter, it's really cold," because my voice gets
That is the
shaky.
worst thing to say, though, right? Just
Yeah, and it got me
saying
more
don't be
nervous.
nervous is just gonna get them more nervous.
No,
Yeah.
I think I was like, why are you so nervous?
Yeah, you said that, and I was like,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Oh, it's cold, it's cold."
I did know that was like, you
Yeah,
know,
no, that's a no-no.
Yeah, because I thought that I wanted to see what kind of reaction Maylene would give. I don't know why. I just wanted to see because I just got a vibe that you
But
would
we met
react
in
really
real
fine.
life first at
we
Anime
did, we
Expo.
did. Yeah, so that's why I didn't mind.
And then you
Yeah.
said the same thing. You were like, "Oh, you don't have to be so awkward."
because I was like, because we were talking, and then you were like, well, I don't know if we can. And I was like, what the fuck's wrong?
Because I remember my first business meeting with you as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
and like whenever Maylin's negotiating, it's like the most hilarious thing I think I've ever seen.
was
Because
this when we had the piece of paper out and
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "How about this?"
It's like you know, like I feel like it's so obvious if you don't like the deal that's offered.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's like how do I say no without sounding like an asshole? And it's like,
I know how she says it. She
Yeah.
says, "Oh,
that's that.
that's the whenever you hear Maylene saying that, you immediately are like,
There's
it's not good, is it?
different kinds of O, though.
No, I was about to say you can write a fucking dictionary on your fucking O's and like which tone you say it in just communicate something
You
completely
even like
different.
type it to us as well. Like when I'm texting you about like a business deal and I'm like, oh, they came back with this. What do you think? And you legitimately come back with,
This is true.
oh,
I
and
didn't
immediately
know
I'm
this.
just like,
You pointed
say
it
no
out.
more. I know exactly what you mean.
I remember the story. I don't know if I've told this. Have I told you guys about the time at Promare? There was a guy.
No.
So when I was at the premiere of Promare at AX, I was sitting in the Studio Trigger seats because a friend, Haramo, got me into the Studio Trigger seats, and I was like, "Well, it's fucking cool."
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting on the end of the Studio Trigger seats, right? Promare's about to start.
Yeah.
And it's obvious it's Studio Trigger because all the seats say reserved for Studio Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and then this guy in like a Final Fantasy like cloud cosplay comes up to me, and he goes, "Hey, do you work at Trigger?" And I was like, "No, these guys do." He's like, and then he goes, and then I say that to him, and I was like, "Oh, I made a mistake." Because then he's like, "Oh, hello," and then I'm like, "Oh my god." Over me, he's like, "Hello."
Yeah.
Bear in mind, he's full costume, fucking giant sword.
Yeah.
He's like, "How do I get a job in Studio Trigger?" To this Japanese man who can't speak a word of English.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then looks at like Hannibal, and like, yeah.
You should have just been like, not like this.
I was like, "Bro, I don't think this is the right time."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he
yeah.
asked that to them, and they were visibly confused. I'm like, "Bro, I don't think this is the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
play." He's like, "Oh, okay," and I'm like,
What, like, look, with these kinds of people, what do they expect the answer to be? Be like, oh yes, here's my business card.
"It's
Contact
like
me
Willy
anytime.
fucking Wonka." It's like, you were the right guy who asked. We were waiting for someone to be bold enough to ask us at the Promare thing. Like, no, fuck off.
No, that's
Yeah.
not how you get a
It
job.
was
Yeah.
literally just like one of those moments. I was like, "Oh no." Oh, no.
That's secondhand embarrassment, right?
Yeah.
So don't do this. This is the biggest
Yeah.
L I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So advice, right? At your next convention, and you see an industry guest, don't do that. That's not how you get a job at these
I
industries.
couldn't believe it.
I mean,
was
I
like,
don't think they're looking to hire when they're at conventions. And stuff, right? I don't know.
The
What is that?
person that's like the hiring person wouldn't go to that event anyway.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, if I ran an anime company, the last place I would go to hire people is
a
an anime
convention.
convention.
But yeah, it
be
just
honest.
seems like the way to get hired in Japanese companies is just first to be in Japan, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Be in Japan
Yeah.
or like apply to like U.S. companies like Crunchyroll.
yeah,
and
yeah.
Vizmedia.
just being like outright and so like not even. I mean, that's a little aggressive asking, right? Like
Yeah.
that kind of way just doesn't work. It's like you got to like insert
And it's
yourself.
like you weren't even cosplaying as a Trigger character. You were cosplaying as fucking. You were cosplaying as fucking Cloud.
Oh, yeah, so if he turned up full like Ryoko kill, like they're like, "Oh."
As you can
nice.
see, I am a fan. Can I have a job?
So like our audience knows what we think about working in Japanese companies. How is it for you who actually works in a Japanese company
I
for
worked
the
in
industry?
different Japanese companies before the anime. Wah.
The anime one.
Oh no!
It's okay.
Awkward mode on.
It's okay. It won't hurt you. It's a microphone.
I will kill you if you.
I don't know. Like, do you want me to say it's like exciting? It's like nerve.
No, just be honest.
Are
Like,
the
be honest.
rumors? Are the rumors true? Are Japanese companies hell? I'm joking. Don't look at me.
What? No,
Because there's like
no,
black
no.
companies, right? Gray, white.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like Japan has like this terminology where it's like it's black or it's white. White is like they follow the rules, they treat their employees nice, and then black is like they overwork you, they ask you to work like I don't know,
Overtime.
12
Overtime,
hours
yeah.
or something
Unpaid.
like that. But no, like I got really lucky. I think the company I work for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is really like very aggressive about telling their employees go home, have
Yeah.
a social life, and they like highly value that. So
That's
I
good.
don't know.
What do you think about the Japanese like work-life schedule? Do you think like the?
As someone who lives.
I think it's on average
I think it's
Japanese.
crazy.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
work on average 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
80 hours a week.
How is like your work-life schedule compared to when you are working outside of Japan? If you have any
When I
comparison.
was I only worked for an American company in like San Francisco for a month before I quit and chased my anime dreams. So I can really, I guess, based on that one month experience, it's very different. Like in America, I would just clock out and leave. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Here, it's like you want to impress your supervisor with good results, and sometimes to get those good results. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make more time, but if you spend more time and do more research,
Like,
Right.
oh, Maylene's a hard worker.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Maybe I have no. Maybe.
And then the polar opposite, you got like the Scandinavian countries, which are like, yeah, 6 hours a day is fine, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
That seems good. But I mean, there's been plenty of studies that prove that working more doesn't necessarily mean more money. There's studies to actually prove the opposite of that, which is working less.
exactly. I mean,
tends to be more productive.
I mean, that's where the whole controversy of like the whole Zangyo,
Yeah.
thing comes from, right? Where like employees of like traditional companies are almost forced, like socially. It's not a rule in the company, but they're almost socially bound to stay back overtime to work.
I don't think they should though.
Not because they need to do the work, but because, as you said, they want to impress their supervisors, right?
Kind of. But there are some times, like, I think they really shouldn't stay behind, even if they're not really working or working.
Yeah.
It's because it really takes a toll on their, like, mental health.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
For me, usually before an event, the month or a month and a half, I'm actually working, like, really late, like 11 p.m. or something, because crunch time type of thing.
Yeah.
And I felt, like, miserable during those times. So I
yeah.
can only imagine how miserable, like, Japanese people at Japanese companies that like do
They have no
overtime.
life. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
I felt angry for no reason. I'm like, why am I angry? Oh, it's because am I working too much? But I really loved what
Monkey
I
brain.
did. Yeah. Even if you love what you do, though, when you get tired, you get cranky.
I mean, that's the same as us. I mean, we love our
you guys
jobs.
are always working.
Yeah, but we're always working, and
yeah.
we never get a break. But even though we love what we do, there's times when I fucking hate anime. You know,
Yeah.
you're just like,
There
man,
are times where I'm just like, I don't want to work on this video, man. I just want to play games.
I know.
Just watch porn or something, like anything
Yeah.
else, right? To just get my mind off
Watch
it.
porn.
Just watch porn.
Watch a 2-hour porn
not even,
marathon.
not even Faptoy, just watch it. Like, yeah, it's just one of those days, you know?
What's a convention time like for you then? Because for us, it's like, especially AX, it's busy as hell. But I've seen people working in the industry working fucking overtime when it comes to convention season.
I wonder as well, like expanding on that, is like how does it all work with like industries and the conventions and like, you know?
I
what's
can
the-
only speak from like my particular perspective for Spot.
Yeah.
because
I wouldn't expect
it-
you to be
from
the arbiter of
yeah.
knowledge
No.
on conventions.
For Japanese companies, I think they have to prepare like a lot more than US companies, because we have to like consider people that don't speak English coming over and their first time exhibiting at an event, and the amount of time it takes to ship something. Like if they're gonna sell something overseas at the convention, shipping it might be a problem. So it takes like a lot of time.
To be fair, though,
Yeah.
if I can say something, like, I don't know if it's just Kadokawa, but like, I've noticed with like any booth that is run by a Japanese company, the amount of staff they have,
Oh my god.
kind of ridiculous.
There's
it is
usually like a
ridiculous.
supervisor that's
Yeah.
watching another supervisor watching another
Yeah.
supervisor.
Whereas you go to America, you go to a booth.
It's like the entire supply chain just watching each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
You go to like an American like company booth, right?
Yeah.
You'll maybe say like
Two.
2 to 5 max. Right?
Yeah.
The Kadokawa booth had like 60 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going inside the Kadokawa
Because-
booth. I remember there was like
Yeah.
30 employees.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like, this is just stupid.
No. The reason is like each person, like even within Kadokawa, like say these are all from the same series, or no, not the same series, same publisher.
Right.
Each department has a different person in charge, and that person in charge needs to be there to like.
But this feels like it's been like.
But do they though?
Yeah, but this
Yeah.
feels like it should be.
Yes.
This should have been like.
Coordinated somehow,
Yeah, like
right?
in a way that like this isn't needed.
just get like one person to just like kind of look over everything, and then once the event is done, just
That's not how
report
they
back.
do it.
Seems
Joey.
like a lot
I
of
think it's also
redundancy.
really important for them to go overseas, because they're like, their mind is open mind. They become open minded.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh,
sometimes.
this is how like the American otakus are.
Yeah.
But the problem is half the employees don't come out of the booth, so they don't even get to experience the culture.
But they can see like, or hear from outside the booth, like what items being sold the most, and like take mental.
So what do they think of foreign conventions and foreign culture then? From
Yeah, what do they think of
from
AX?
your perspective?
I've
What,
heard they think it's like, wow, amazing, like so different and like so open
right.
compared to the fan otaku culture here.
That's
Yeah.
what I've heard from a lot of Japanese people.
Like the fans here are really uptight. Like for example, I don't know, like Comic-Con or anime events here, you can't go there and cosplay because you would bring shame to the event. The neighboring people.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
heard that
yeah.
story.
I
yeah.
actually, my friends and I cosplayed at Comic-Con like 6 years ago, and we were like the top trending thing at that time on 2chan saying these 3 American girls cosplaying as Love Live on the train. And shame on me for not doing my research
Right.
beforehand, but
still chill.
yeah, I had like friends in America, Japanese friends in America, message me, "What are you guys doing over there? You can't cosplay in the train."
Like it's not even like
Isn't that fun though? I'd love to see a cosplayer on the
We
show.
Yeah.
had like a
I mean, it's just
Dojin
different.
circle follow us from station to station.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, can you take that off?" But we were only wearing the wig. We were wearing I was wearing normal clothes, just the wig.
So
You
you're
don't
not
wanna
even
take off
allowed
the
to wear a wig.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And then my friend told her, she's like, "We're only wearing the wig." And like, "No, they know from your hair what character you are."
But like, I understand if it's something like gratuitous, like if you were all cosplaying as like fucking Ryuko, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's like where it's like a little more like
Revenge is out.
like a little more like scandalous, right?
Yeah.
But like it's Love Live. You're in school uniform.
Yeah.
The only thing that separates you from like a regular schoolgirl is just the wig.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like they want to protect this culture. They want to keep having these events.
They're not. It's just gatekeeping.
How does that happen?
You're right, that is gay.
Because, like, for example, a normie would be on the train and they see some crazy cosplayer.
Isn't that fun though?
Yeah, but
Spices
they
your
might.
life up a little bit.
But also, like, anime otakus in Japan aren't viewed in like a positive light.
Yeah,
I don't think they
that's
necessarily are though in the West.
No, I
here-
don't feel like there's as bad a stigma compared to it is here.
Because
Yeah, they think you're like sweaty and I mean
Yeah.
I am, but like
We're all sweaty.
like, you can't. You're just so weird. You watch like the weird stuff on the internet.
Dude, I
Love Live's not even that weird.
and,
I rocked up on the London Underground in the maid outfit, like just did it, just like 40-minute commute. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
no, in America I
And
did something.
everyone loves it. They're like all
Yeah.
laughing, all giggling, like
Or
asking
they'd be like, "What are
questions.
you cosplaying or dressing up as?"
Yeah, you'd get,
Yeah.
I'd get like heckled from the other side of the
Yeah.
thing, and then like it's just good fun. I don't know. I thought it was funny, but obviously I guess
It's such a weird double standard, though, isn't it? Where it's
Yeah.
like, like anime-loving otakus are like, ew, sweaty, gross. And then meanwhile, if there's a guy rocking up with like full-on like, idol shit, they're just
Yeah.
like, oh, he just really likes idols. It's like, no, he's just as sweaty.
No, like a lot of people think it's gross. Like every time I told like Japanese people, like oh, I'm an otaku, they're like, "No, you're not. You don't look like what does otaku
I
look
got
like?"
that
Yeah.
as well.
And it's like really like, how dare you insult my people?
Yeah. Like, what do they expect an otaku to look like? Where it's like you're fucking 300
Posters.
pounds.
Yeah,
and
I know,
fucking,
I-
like,
I
glasses
think
and
it's
shit.
like how weeaboo, the word weeaboo used to be seen like 10 years ago in our community where
Right.
who would like identify themselves as a weeaboo? That's like
Right.
cringy, like that's like a cringy person nobody wants to know, right?
Right, because
Yeah.
because the stereotypical like otaku in Japan, like you don't see people like that anymore.
No.
There's like
Yeah.
people who like anime and that's just like normalized here.
Yeah.
But
That was cool.
no-
Like 20-year-old girls have like the Ita bags. And
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
love 2D boys.
Yeah,
remember-
exactly.
yeah, and everyone loves JoJo's. You know,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yes.
That's like
Every
that's like
businessman is
that's
always
like
like,
the
nice
cheat
shirt.
sheet.
Yeah.
That's like the cheat sheet, right? You just
Yeah.
wear JoJo merch to like a business meeting, and
It just feels so good.
Everyone- yeah, you'll get like a 50-year-old businessman, can't you? And be like, I love JoJo's.
Dude, I fucking I was buying manga at like my local bookstore, and I was wearing one of the Glam JoJo shirts.
Yeah.
And the guy like stopped like putting in the books, and he's like, "Where'd you get that shirt from?" And I was like, "Oh, Glam," and he's like, "That looks sick, dude." And he just
Yeah.
high-fived me, and I'm like, "I've never had this experience in Japan before." Yeah, dude, obviously this is before the pandemic, right?
Okay.
Social distance, but like, yeah, he just
and
straight up-
everyone claps.
Everyone in the store applauded Joey.
Congratulations.
And then they played the JoJo opening, and I left.
John No's theme came on.
as I run out of the store.
My
No, he
God.
just straight up high-fived me. I was
Yeah.
like, cool. JoJo brings
Wow.
people together, man. It's fucking
That
awesome.
does sound like
does.
an r// that happened.
Yeah, no.
Like, I remember I mentioned in my, like, when I was talking about dating in Japan video, I mentioned, like, oh yeah, I just openly said I was an otaku, and then I was like, why are people getting all worked up about it? And then I got loads of comments that were like, it means a bad thing in Japan. And I was like, yeah, I know, I just don't care. Like,
Yeah.
if I can normalize it, I can help to get there.
It's,
Sure,
yeah,
I'll
if
check it
someone wants to see it in a negative light, that's their prerogative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
out. Most of the people that I told it to just didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Going back to conventions though, one thing I've always been curious about is how do you guys like pick the guests to like bring over and showcase to people? Is there like a process behind that, or
Yeah, for my company, there was at the time when I was like the event person in charge,
Yeah.
person in charge of events. We would look first at the sales,
right?
like, oh, what's trending? What's like the top selling manga or light novel, the top 10, and then I'd just contact
them, yeah.
Yeah, and because I'm in Bookwalker, and Bookwalker is like has really close ties to all different kinds of publishers,
Yeah.
I guess we're able to ask them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because that makes sense. Because I've done so many like creator panels, especially at AX with Bookwalker.
Like Danmachi.
Yeah, I did it with like Danmachi, Overlord,
Goblin Slayer, Monster
Musume.
Musume.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And every time, I remember like every time one of those panels finish, always one person who comes up to me for some reason, of all people, and is like, "Hey, next year, can you get the author of this light novel? That'd be really cool."
Did you ever get people who thought you were the author of something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that as
Yeah,
well.
I've had that.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone came up to my thing. This is back when the 93% was still a thing.
Oh yeah.
And some guy, like 13-year-old boy, came up to me, and I'm like, "That's weird. Why is there a guy in my line?"
The 7%.
Yeah. And so he comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, yeah." He took a photo, did the sign. He's like, "You're the author of Goblin Slayer, right?" No kidding. And I was like, "No."
Because we had autographs at our booth for
Yeah, for
them.
Goblin Slayer, right?
yeah.
So, and he was like, "You're the author of Goblin Slayer." I'm like, "Do I look like Japanese? Like what?"
I don't get a lot of you're the author, but I always get a lot of like you're the guy who does the official translations. It's like, because he translated like what the author was saying.
panel,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you must, and yeah, I remember I had a guy just being like, when's like volume 3 of Goblin Slayer gonna get translated? Like I fucking know.
You should have just been like, "Yeah, actually tomorrow."
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
working on it right now. Actually, don't worry, it's coming soon.
If you just left me alone, it would have been done.
Yeah. No, but I get so many people just being like, "Hey, can you bring on this creator or like this author?" And I'm just like, "Don't ask me, man.
Yeah.
I'm just hosting it."
Anime departments of like certain companies, they usually bring guests of like say directors or whatever of whatever anime is coming out that season, and they have
Yeah.
a premiere, and the author or director comes to promote the premiere. So not necessarily it's like trending. Like
So
Goblin
it's
Slayer
basically
came.
just all marketing then.
Yes.
Is the way I see it.
Yeah.
It's all data. It's all marketing.
It's all data and marketing. It's all business.
Because I always wondered, AX must be really expensive to like put up all the booth, the staff, the marketing.
Definitely.
Is it like? I mean, obviously it must be worth it, right? Like, is the return on investment like huge there?
I mean, they're not really looking for sales directly. I think.
Right.
I think it's just looking for presence. Because
Right,
if
right.
you
Branding.
don't have a presence, it's like not being at E3. You know what I mean?
I guess
like,
but even companies now are like
Yeah.
questioning if E3 is worth it.
yeah.
right?
I mean, Sony wasn't at E3 the year before, I think, and that was like massive news because
Yeah.
that was like a massive statement being
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Hey, we don't fucking need E3." You know?
We're fucking Sony.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be a thing with that, like AX, when the company's like, "Oh, we don't really need AX anymore," right?
A lot
Like-
of companies, though, or Japanese companies, are bringing their own guests instead
Yeah.
of like, through the guest of honor thing.
Yeah. Because I feel like right now with like anime growing so much in the West, I think there is a big there's more eyes at AX now.
Yeah.
So like if you're not there, then
kind of
that's like a missed opportunity more than, hey, this is E3. You know what I mean? This is already
There's just so
established.
much press too.
Yeah.
A lot of news sites are all at this event, so they could arrange interviews or whatever that could promote it.
So going back 900 million topics ago,
we're gonna finish this episode
because
up.
with how we started it, piracy in anime,
Yeah.
KissAnime going down. Like, what are our final thoughts? Like, I guess, what are our like final thoughts on piracy in anime? Because we've threw around a bunch of like
I
different.
mean,
discussions about it.
this episode has turned into like an anime industry episode as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think wrapping up the piracy debates. I mean,
I
not
don't want to
good.
get any companies that never want to work with us. I mean, generally, piracy, bad. I think we can all agree
Yeah.
piracy is not good.
It's not
No.
good.
But like everything in life, there is no,
sometimes it's a
hard-
necessary evil. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. It's
Yeah.
it's not always clear cut, and I think
Yeah.
until people in the positions of authority most of the time, or who are in the industry, recognize that there might be in some cases, it's all right, whatever.
It's much of a service problem as it is a community problem, right?
Yeah.
Because, of course, people will say, like, oh, the only reason these piracy sites are thriving is because these legal sites aren't doing the job that these piracy sites are covering. But then at the same time, a lot of the community is like, nah, dude, let's just use the piracy
I don't
stuff,
think you need
right?
to
Like,
justify or say like shame people either.
no,
Yeah, no.
definitely not.
And I think there's one last point I want to make about the service thing, where no matter what, like, I don't think legal sites will ever get to a point when they can fully compete with piracy. I mean, there's never going to be one company that has all the shows or has like every show in existence. And
Even though every company is trying their best.
every company's trying their best, but I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we're going to get like a legal KissAnime. Know what I mean? Or a legal whatever site. And I think recognizing that it is an uneven playing field, and, you know, legal companies aren't perfect, but in my eyes, I give them a bit of leeway. If all I look for is if I can just play my fucking anime on my Chromecast without any worries, and that's pretty much all I need for like my $5 subscription.
Yeah, I paid for Crunchyroll for years.
Yeah. And I just like, if we could just stop the argument being like, okay, you're either on one side or the other. You're either with us or against us. I think there's a healthy middle ground for people to be had.
Yeah.
Also, who the fuck cares? Let's be honest. Like, I'm gonna pay for it, and if you don't want to, I don't particularly care.
Yeah, I don't give a
think
shit.
There's enough people like me who have disposable income and can afford to do so and are willing to do so. That at the end of the day, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Most of these people who are like on their high horse shouting at people not to pirate, you're shouting at like 12-year-old kids who don't know any better. Let's be honest. That's what fucking half of Twitter is. Who gives a fuck? I'll just keep paying. I don't care.
That's like going to the lower class and being like, you can't afford Balenciaga? What the fuck's wrong with you? It's like, yeah, maybe some people just can't. And
What do you mean you're buying knockoff Balenciaga?
yeah, what the fuck? You. You're not supporting the fashion industry because of that.
Yeah.
It's like, just do you, man. And just
like
keep it to yourself.
like none of us really care that much. I don't think we're not like activists.
You pay
or
for your
whatever.
anime legally? Cool.
Yeah.
You pay for it illegally? Cool.
My philosophy has and always has been just do what you can. You know, everyone's situation is different. Everyone's got a different reason or is in a different position in life. Just do what you can and do what you feel like. Whatever.
Don't be a bully.
Yeah.
Don't be a bully.
Just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick and just like don't try to take advantage of the system. And that's pretty much my opinion on piracy.
And please, Konami, stop making pachinko machines. I beg of you, make anything but pachinko.
And check out Bookwalker. that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what you can also check out? Patreon. Like these lovely people
Look at these lovely names.
Look at all
on
these
screen.
names, Maylene.
Yeah.
They support the show. You
Yeah.
see
Who's
them all?
that over there?
I like him. That's cool. I like him or her.
Big thank you to today's sponsor as well, EJANiME Store.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you very much. Also, you can go check out our subreddit. Also, check out our Twitter. All the links, as always, is in the description below.
Yeah.
Monkey Brain Gang, rise up.
Unfortunately, I don't think you can check out Maylene. She doesn't. She's. Do you have any
I-
social media you want to shout out or anything, like Maylene?
It's cringy, so no. No.
But again, you can check out Bookwalker.
Yes.
Check out Bookwalker instead.
Yeah.
Do you run the Twitter account for that still?
No, I stopped like last year or something.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you can't
But
even.
you can follow
That's
us
why
on
the
Twitter.
memes
Follow.
became less fire.
Yeah.
The last thing I posted was it interspecies reviewers?
Wow. Throwback. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, thank you very much for coming on,
thank you
Maylene.
for
And I
having
know there was a lot of limited things you could not talk about, especially still working on an industry, but we very much appreciate
That's
you.
business, man.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
you
just business.
can't,
Yeah, I'm sure people will be mad that you didn't get to talk as much as us, but you know, we talk our asses off. For a living.
If I talk too much, I might say something illegal. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Right?
If you guys want more Maylene, don't worry. There'll be plenty of Maylene, us shouting at Maylene.
Yeah.
She'll always be behind there somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Behind the camera.
behind the cameras, running the secret mastermind behind this show.
But yeah, thank you very much for coming on and shining more light on the industry.
Thank
and
you for having me.
yeah,
I hope I didn't.
saying what you can say about what goes on behind the scenes, because I know there's a lot of like eyes and you don't want to get fired or anything like
Yes.
that.
I think a lot of people though will like appreciate your opinions.
Yeah.
Especially like with the whole like, you know, getting a job in Japan
Yeah,
thing.
check out
Yeah.
Craigslist.
Shout out to Craigslist.
Shout out to Craigslist.
Craigslist
Except
doesn't even sponsor people, I think.
hey, Craigslist. We're
except
open.
when there are cockroaches in the fridge.
I've seen too much. Please don't. We should not be supporting this.
Craigslist gave you your visa. Amazing.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching today. We've been Trash Taste and the boys, and we've been Maylene, or Maylene's been there, and we'll
Yeah.
see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.